Chapter 1693. 200 years ago, the immortal realms experienced a transformation. The Tao elements appeared in the city of ancient emperors, and geniuses contended against each other. Why? In the history of the azure mystic immortal realms, there were many existences who managed to step into that realm. In the vast immortal realms, no one dared to disobey them. Although there were only a few records of them in the ancient records, no one dared to deny their unparalleled achievements. In the vast immortal realms, they reigned supreme. From this, one could very well imagine what sort of existences ancient emperors were. They were paragons of the immortal realms, able to become the rulers of the world. But today, an ancient emperor was killed by Qin Wentian in the royal palace of the Evergreen Kingdom. How could Nanfeng Yaoyue not understand what this signified? From today onwards, Qin Wentian's name would truly circulate through the entire azure mystic immortal realms. There was no one in the world who didn't know of Qin Wentian. Many people in the Namhuang clan felt indescribably shocked. Namhuang Yunxi and Nanfeng Xinga suddenly felt that Qin Wentian was so close to them, yet so far away at the same time. If it wasn't for the fact that they were friends, they most probably wouldn't even have the qualifications to stand together with Qin Wentian. This was an existence that could kill ancient emperors. Even immortal emperors would have to kneel before them. In the vast crowd, Qin Wentian had many acquaintances. Li Yufeng, Nanfeng Nongyue, the Dark North Immortal Emperor and the others all felt shock in their hearts. Although Su Qinyao had only interacted with Qin Wentian in the city of ancient emperors, Qin Wentian had given her an extremely deep impression. After this battle, she would never be able to forget his magnificence throughout the generations. Chu Qingyi's eyes turned red, feeling incomparably complicated in her heart. Has he already reached this step? In that case, she could only give him her blessings. Her beautiful eyes flickered with tears. The man she secretly loved in her heart, his name would shake the entire world. Senior Brother Qin. Jun Mengchen clenched his fists tightly. In the immortal Qianbian Gate, those who knew Qin Wentian all sighed in their hearts. Even an ancient emperor had died in his hands. Senluo Emperor, is today the day of my death? Qin Wentian turned his gaze to the Senluo Immortal Emperor. At this instant, the Senluo Immortal Emperor's countenance turned ashen. The experts from the Senluo Immortal Empire all had looks of terror on their faces. Even the envoy from the upper world had died in Qin Wentian's hands. How could they be a match for Qin Wentian? Given Qin Wentian's current cultivation base, it would only take a single thought for him to kill them. Qin Wentian, you killed someone from the upper world of my Senluo Immortal Empire. In the future, you won't be able to escape death as well. The Senluo Immortal Emperor had a malevolent expression on his face as he threatened. He knew that right now, he would die for sure. You won't be able to see it. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. I'm willing to lead the Senluo Immortal Empire to submit to the immortal Qianbian Gate. At this moment, the Senluo Immortal Emperor had already secretly transmitted his voice to the experts of the immortal Qianbian Gate. Right now, only this force could allow him to live. Naturally, on the surface, he still spoke. Qin Wentian, how did you do it exactly? How can you reach your current cultivation base in such a short period of time? Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. The Senluo Immortal Emperor was actually concerned about this before his death. Upon seeing the flickering in his eyes, Qin Wentian seemed to have understood. A resplendent light cascaded down on the Senluo Immortal Emperor. This was the power of light. Stay your hand. At this moment, the leader of the immortal Qianbian Gate berated. Qin Wentian ignored him. When he heard that voice, he understood that the Senluo Immortal Emperor had sought help from the heavenly talisman realm. The light flashed as the Senluo Immortal Emperor screamed in agony. After that, he dissipated into nothingness. Not only for the Senluo Immortal Emperor, the light radiating from Qin Wentian also enveloped all the experts of the Senluo Immortal Empire. He spoke, back then, the Senluo Immortal Emperor led the Senluo Immortal Empire to hunt me down. Today, I've returned. The Senluo Immortal Empire shall be erased from the immortal realms. As the sound of his voice faded, the experts of the Senluo Immortal Empire all screamed in agony as they died one after another, vanishing from the light. Although he has already reached another level, what he wanted was revenge. Who could say anything? Back then, the peak powers of the immortal realms joined forces to hunt him down. At that time, he, Qin Wentian, was only at the Immortal King realm. All the immortal emperors participated in the hunt, and now that he has returned, even if he killed all his enemies, no one could say that he didn't abide by the rules. This was what the many peak powers of the immortal realms did to him back then. Now, he wanted to get revenge. Another peak power of the immortal realms has been destroyed. Many people sighed with emotion. The Senluo Immortal Empire was one of the 3 strongest immortal empires in the central regions. But now, 2 out of 3 were destroyed. The Senluo Immortal Empire and the 9 Emperors' immortal state were both destroyed. From now on, their names were erased from the immortal realms. If it was in the past, the experts of the Shooting Sun Empire would surely be very happy. But now, the experts of the Shooting Sun Empire didn't feel as excited as they imagined. Because, they understood that even if the 9 Emperors' immortal state and the Senluo Immortal Empire were destroyed, their Shooting Sun Empire wouldn't be able to accomplish much. Qin Wentian was still there, he could even kill ancient emperors. This was equivalent to crushing the hopes of all the peak powers. Even if they stepped into that legendary realm, it was useless. They wouldn't be able to defeat Qin Wentian. This immortal realms would only belong to Qin Wentian or those who could defeat Qin Wentian. The experts of the Shooting Sun Empire could only watch from the sidelines. There was a beautiful princess in the Shooting Sun Empire who was now an immortal emperor. She was transcendent. Back then when she was in the Tiandao Sacred Academy, she was teased by monk Bujia. When she was hunting Bujia, she met Qin Wentian and a story happened between them. Now that she saw Qin Wentian, she felt as though she was in a dream. Everything felt so surreal. The scenes in the Tiandao Sacred Academy flashed through her mind. At that time, who would have thought that the handsome young man in front of her would have such accomplishments today? The experts of the Immortal Qianbian Gate all had unsightly expressions on their faces. Qin Wentian clearly ignored them. Qin Wentian naturally had to ignore them. When they spoke, Qin Wentian already knew that the Senluo Immortal Emperor had sought help from the Immortal Qianbian Gate. How could he not kill them? Those who participated in the encirclement of the Senluo Immortal Emperor back then would all be annihilated. No one would be able to interfere. As expected of a disciple of your sect. Now that your wings have hardened and you have already stepped into the Empyrean realm, you no longer have your sect in your eyes. An expert from the Heavenly Talisman realm coldly spoke. Back then when I was still in my sect, where was the sect when I was surrounded by so many peak powers? Now, I have to rely on myself to take revenge. Could it be that you all still want to obstruct me? Qin Wentian mocked. The experts from the Heavenly Talisman realm coldly snorted. They had no way to refute Qin Wentian's words. There was truly no logic to it. Kill them all. Qin Wentian inclined his head and stared at the battle in the air that had stopped. He coldly spoke. The Foarok race, Void Beast race, White Tiger people and the other greater demons all had looks of terror on their faces. They actually sped away, preparing to flee. When they saw that Qin Wentian has already stepped into the Empyrean realm, they knew that it was impossible for them to win against Qin Wentian. Now, they could only flee for their lives. Qin Wentian coldly laughed. Astral light enveloped him as an incomparably gigantic ancient tree appeared in the air. Countless vines shot out in all directions with lightning speed, causing rustling sounds to ring out unceasingly. The experts from the Heavenhold race were all bound by the ancient tree as they howled in rage. The greater demons from the Heavenhold race had boundless strength, but the vines grew larger and larger, locking onto them tightly. The experts from the Foarok race were incomparably tyrannical. The greater demons from the Sun Gold demon race blazed with sun fire, but the vines were indestructible. They grew thicker and thicker, binding the greater demons tightly. Flee. For immortal emperors, how would they have a chance to flee when facing an ancient emperor? The roars of rage shook the heavens and earth. The other greater demons stared in shock, none of them dared to interfere. Although they hated Qin Wentian's methods very much, who would dare to interfere when facing the rage of an ancient emperor? They couldn't help but to rejoice that they didn't participate in the war against the Evergreen Kingdom back then. If not, they wouldn't have been able to escape today. Yah! At this moment, a raging wind gusted by as a golden-colored greater demon flew over with a speed as fast as lightning. His entire body was cast from gold and resembled a great rock. He swooped down, aiming for Qin Wentian. Little rascal! Purgatory, who was below, exclaimed in shock. After that, the golden-winged great rock transformed into a snow-white little demon and rushed into Qin Wentian's embrace. Boo-hoo-hoo, you are finally back. Little rascal whimpered. He initially thought that Qin Wentian had died. It was only until he heard the news of Qin Wentian slaughtering his way into the Foarok race and Sun Gold demon race did he know that Qin Wentian was still alive. He and Qin Wentian could sense each other, but after that battle, the connection between them vanished. He basically didn't expect that Qin Wentian was still alive. Little rascal, I'm back. Qin Wentian rubbed Little Rascal's head as he spoke in a gentle voice. That old demon is dead. Little Rascal's voice was low as he spoke with sorrow. I know. I've already killed those two vile beasts and roasted them. You came back at the right time. Right now, there are many greater demons here. You can handle them. Qin Wentian spoke. Little Rascal inclined his head and stared at those bound greater demons. His body directly soared up into the air, transforming into a golden heaven-devouring beast that exuded an incomparably imposing might. That golden head of his exuded a terrifying baleful aura. With a flash of his silhouette, he directly appeared before a greater demon from the Sun Gold demon race. His golden claws slammed into the head of the greater demon as terrifying golden runic light flashed. The greater demon screamed in agony as his body was devoured bit by bit. Heaven-devouring beasts could even devour the sun, moon, and constellations. There was nothing they couldn't devour. Very swiftly, this greater demon from the Sun Gold demon race was devoured. Little Rascal's silhouette flashed unceasingly, devouring the captured greater demons one by one, turning them into nutrients for him. How brutal! The expressions of many greater demons changed. The hearts of the humans in this vast space trembled violently. Qin Wentian had no expression on his face as he stared at Little Rascal, venting his anger. This was a world where the strong preyed on the weak. If it wasn't Little Rascal devouring them, it was them devouring Little Rascal. Staring at the heaven-devouring beast frenziedly, as well as the white-robed figure standing with his hands clasped behind his back, everyone sighed in their hearts. In the future, they better not antagonize this baleful god, Qin Wentian. Chapter 1694. In the vast space, so many demon emperors were actually transformed into nutrients for the heaven-devouring beast. This was simply a shocking sight. The hearts of many demons trembled. The heaven-devouring beast was as expected of a demonic beast, it was actually able to contain so many greater demons. Also, there didn't seem to be any changes to its body. Finally, the heaven-devouring beast devoured all the demonic beasts Qin Wentian trapped. Its body transformed back into a snow-white little demon with a bulging stomach. It swayed as it walked towards Qin Wentian, lying in Qin Wentian's embrace lazily. After that, it actually closed its eyes as golden light shone from it. Qin Wentian was stunned. Did it have nothing better to do? Purgatory, take care of little rascal. Qin Wentian passed little rascal's body to purgatory. His gaze turned to the air as he spoke, since you are here, why don't you come out? Is there any meaning in hiding? The hearts of many people trembled. There were still experts here. Among the crowd, there were many peak-stage demon emperors. If they didn't know that there were people here, didn't this mean that these people were even more terrifying compared to them? At this moment, 3 figures descended, landing in the midst of the Jiang clan's experts. Their gazes were terrifying, able to penetrate through everything. The Jiang clan of the southern regions had always been mysterious and unfathomable. They seemed low profile and didn't pursue hegemony, but they gave off a sense of danger. Right now, 3 Empyreans actually appeared. The eyes of everyone stared at them as they felt great waves of shock in their hearts. Were these 3 people all at the ancient emperor level? If this was the case, wasn't this a little too terrifying? 3 Empyreans, the Jiang clan is truly going all out. Qin Wentian spoke. His words undoubtedly verified the guesses of everyone, causing their hearts to tremble. The Jiang clan's inheritance originated from the supreme ancient immortal realms. The Jiang clan in the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms is only a branch. One of them spoke. Qin Wentian silently mused that the waters of the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms were truly very deep. The Heavenly Talisman Realm, the Jiang clan, the Yin clan and the others were all hegemonic powers of the upper world. Also, now that the situation has relaxed, so many experts from the supreme ancient immortal realms came to Azure Mystic. Clearly, the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms weren't what they appeared to be on the surface. If not, there was no need for these Empyreans to come here. There were no mines in Azure Mystic and the strength of the cultivators here was also very weak. What was the point of them coming here? If it was purely for the sake of recruiting disciples, there were so many experts in the supreme ancient immortal realms and countless geniuses. There was no need for them to travel across the immortal realms and spend so much effort to come to Azure Mystic to recruit disciples. In the air, more experts descended. However, they didn't join any of the camps. They only smiled and said, "We're just passing by to watch the show." More than 10 transcendents appeared in different directions, appearing from the void. Upon seeing this scene, the hearts of the experts from Azure Mystic trembled violently. There were actually so many transcendents hidden in the dark. These were all at the level of ancient emperors. They simply couldn't imagine that there were actually so many transcendents gathered in the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms. This made it hard for them to accept this. However, Qin Wentian already knew that the experts from the supreme ancient immortal realms would come to Azure Mystic. With such a major incident happening in Azure Mystic, there would naturally be some people here to spectate. Although these people were in the dark, how could they hide from his immortal sense? Everyone from the supreme ancient immortal realms are all Empyreans, guests of Azure Mystic. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. He wouldn't offend these people from the supreme ancient immortal realms. People from the Heavenly Talisman Realm, just come out. There's no need to hide anymore. Qin Wentian stared in the direction of the immortal Qianbian Gate as he spoke. He knew that the Heavenly Talisman Realm was able to open a spatial tunnel in the void. Although he didn't sense their presence in the surroundings, he knew that the Heavenly Talisman Realm had already arrived. Heavenly Talisman Realm. Many people in the air turned their gazes in the direction of the immortal Qianbian Gate. After that, someone laughed, "I didn't expect them to be people from the Heavenly Talisman Realm. Also, they actually have such a major power in Azure Mystic. Seems like they have prepared for many years." In the void, a bright light flashed as several figures walked out. All of them were Empyreans at the ancient emperor level. Their auras were terrifying and they were clad in violet gold robes, exuding a sense of imposingness. These were none other than experts from the Heavenly Talisman Realm. In the vast space, countless people stared at the Empyreans who appeared. At this moment, they only felt that this was a surreal scene. Today, they initially thought that the peak powers of Azure Mystic would contend against each other. But at this moment, they suddenly discovered to their disbelief that the peak powers of the immortal realms didn't even have the qualifications to speak. Also, Qin Wentian clearly already knew of this situation. After stepping into the ancient emperor realm, Qin Wentian had long since no longer placed many of the major powers in Azure Mystic in his eyes. He gathered all the major powers of Azure Mystic for revenge. This was merely the first step. Before this, he concealed his true cultivation base and didn't reveal his strength as an ancient emperor because he wanted to send the enemies of the evergreen immortal empire to their deaths. At this moment, only now did the people of Azure Mystic truly feel that Qin Wentian was no longer on the same level as them. The him who returned was an ancient emperor character. They could only look up to him in admiration. Since the devil cultivators from the myriad devil islands have already arrived at the royal capital of the Evergreen Kingdom, what are their intentions? Why are you all crowding around here? At this moment, an Empyrean from the Jiang clan spoke, his words causing the eyes of everyone to flash. The devil cultivators from the myriad devil islands have also arrived. Although his voice wasn't loud, everyone in the royal capital of the Evergreen Immortal Empire could hear it. Everyone quietly waited, and not too long after, a fearsome devil might gushed over from afar, exuding an extreme devil might that caused everyone to feel stifled. The experts from the 6 devil halls, as well as the emperors of the various regions, have all arrived. A terrifying army of the devil path that could contend against the Immortal Realms Alliance has arrived. Right now in the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms, immortals, demons and devils each occupied a territory. Long before the appearance of the Demon God Mountain, the myriad devil islands and the immortal realms Wuxia used the Devil Gate as their boundary, mutually restricting each other. If the devil forces of the myriad devil islands were to gather together, they would be able to contend against the Immortal Realms Alliance. From this, one could very well imagine how powerful they would be. Right now, the experts from the 6 devil halls were all here. How terrifying was their lineup? Does the myriad devil islands want to dominate the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms? But why don't I see the myriad devil sovereign? The people from the Jiang clan laughed. No matter how strong the devil army was, if there weren't any Empyreans among them, they wouldn't even be worth a mention. Before Empyreans, immortal emperors were like ants. This point could be seen from Qin Wentian's actions earlier. The gazes of the devil cultivators turned to the center of the crowd, staring at the white-robed figure as they bowed in unison. We pay our respects to the devil sovereign. We pay our respects to the devil sovereign. The troops of the myriad devil islands all bowed in that direction, causing the expressions of everyone to stiffen. Over there, in the airspace above the royal capital of the Evergreen Immortal Empire, Qin Wentian could be seen standing there. At this instant, the hearts of many involuntarily trembled. Dispense with the formalities. Qin Wentian radiated boundless devil might, exuding a terrifying pressure. With a wave of his hand, countless devil cultivators inclined their heads. At this instant, the hearts of countless people trembled violently. So it turned out that Qin Wentian was none other than the myriad devil sovereign. They initially thought that after Qin Wentian returned from the upper world, he would use his overwhelming strength to take revenge, suppressing the world and controlling the Evergreen Kingdom with the help of the Namhuang clan, GD and the others. However, they didn't expect that Qin Wentian had already become the myriad devil sovereign. In the vast devil islands, countless devil cultivators all treated him as their lord. If those experts from the supreme ancient immortal realms were eliminated, just based on Qin Wentian's strength alone, it would be sufficient for him to dominate the world, challenging the entire immortal realms. He was simply too powerful. Even the powerful immortal Qianbian Gate had no way to be mentioned in the same breath as them. After all, the devil cultivators of the myriad devil islands all listened to his commands. Just this force alone already had the strength to contend against the immortal realms. Brother Qin actually already controls the myriad devil islands. Since this is the case, the devil cultivators of the myriad devil islands are all gathered here. Are you preparing to command the immortal realms and the demons of the desolate mountains to submit to Brother Qin? Jiang Zihua spoke. Who is your brother Qin? As the sound of Jiang Zihua's voice faded, Qin Wentian glanced over and coldly spoke, Are you even worthy? Jiang Zihua's gaze froze as his expression instantly turned extremely unsightly. Qin Wentian's words were akin to smacking his face in public. However, who would dare to say that Qin Wentian's words were wrong? Right now, Qin Wentian was someone who could even kill ancient emperors. No matter how high his talent was, he was merely an immortal emperor. Let alone, could his talent surpass Qin Wentian? If Qin Wentian said that he wasn't worthy, he didn't even have the qualifications to refute. Jiang Zihua coldly snorted. Although Qin Wentian was an Empyrean, he still felt extremely embarrassed to be humiliated in public. He coldly spoke, as expected, things are different now. Are you already looking down on those of the same generation as you? Qin Wentian stared at Jiang Zihua, his terrifying gaze penetrating through everything. At this instant, Jiang Zihua only felt that he had entered a miraculous state. It was like he was being seen through by Qin Wentian. Back then in the city of ancient emperors, when I transformed into the saber-sword immortal king, were you the one who revealed my identity? Qin Wentian's voice directly rang out in Jiang Zihua's mind, causing his eyes to narrow as his expression instantly changed. Are you trying to provoke me? Humph, Qin Wentian snorted, his voice rang out in Jiang Zihua's mind. Earlier, Jiang Zihua's actions didn't escape his eyes. His eyes of truth could see through all illusions. Just like what he guessed, it was indeed Jiang Zihua. The Jiang clan had a secret art that allowed them to control the immortal senses of others. Qin Wentian's transformation into the saber-sword immortal king had no flaws at all. Hence, he suspected Jiang Zihua. I'll take his life. Qin Wentian didn't look at Jiang Zihua, he was staring at the three Empyreans of the Jiang clan instead. Indeed, there was no need for him to look up to Jiang Zihua. Given his current cultivation base and status, killing Jiang Zihua was as easy as a thought. If it wasn't for the fact that the Jiang clan had Empyreans, he would have already killed Jiang Zihua. How arrogant! The Jiang clan leader coldly spoke. Bullying others too much. Qin Wentian, what qualifications do you have to do this? Jiang Zihua glared hatefully at Qin Wentian. What sort of character was he? He was one of the strongest geniuses of the Jiang clan, the future successor of the Jiang clan. However, he actually suffered such humiliation here. Based on the fact that you almost killed me in the city of ancient emperors. Qin Wentian spoke. Who can prove that I'm the one who did it? Jiang Zihua coldly spoke. There's no need for anyone to prove it. It's up to you. If I feel that it's me, then it's me. Qin Wentian tyrannically spoke. Chapter 1695. If I feel that it is, then it is. Qin Wentian's tone was extremely tyrannical, disregarding everything in his eyes. He didn't need any evidence or anyone to prove it. He felt that it was enough. The reason why Qin Wentian said this was because he didn't have any evidence, nor could he find any. However, he knew that it was definitely Jiang Zihua. The people of the Jiang clan were low-profile and mysterious, but they always gave him a very bad impression. Ever since Jiang Zihua's younger brother, Jiang Ziyu, clashed with him in the inheritance grounds of the Namhuang clan and invited him to the Jiang clan many times, Qin Wentian had always been on guard against them. Right now, 3 Empyreans from the Jiang clan descended to the lower world from the supreme ancient immortal realms. From this, one could very well imagine how deep they had hidden themselves. You want to kill someone from my Jiang clan just because you feel that way? Do you think we will agree? An Empyrean from the Jiang clan spoke. So what if Qin Wentian killed an Empyrean? That Empyrean was merely an ordinary Empyrean. They had 3 Empyreans from the supreme ancient immortal realms. Also, given their strength in the supreme ancient immortal realms, a mere azure mystic immortal realms was nothing in their eyes. Although this Qin Wentian was at the Empyrean realm, if he was in the supreme ancient immortal realms, they wouldn't care at all. It was only because this world was sealed that Qin Wentian dared to be so impudent before them. Even if you all don't agree, I still want to kill them. I have to settle the enmity between us. Qin Wentian continued. You have more subordinates. It should be easier for you to kill them. The Empyrean from the Jiang clan coldly threatened. I'll remember your words. Qin Wentian stared at the Empyrean and didn't continue to speak. He then glanced in the direction of the Heavenly Talisman Realm. I already know where the Heavenly Talisman Realm is in the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms. Now that I've died once, my fate with the Heavenly Talisman Realm has also been severed. However, I've received their kindness in the past and I'm not willing to start a war with them. I hope that the Heavenly Talisman Realm can release Jun Mengchen and Bai Wuya. Qin Wentian's words were filled with sincerity. Although the actions of the Heavenly Talisman Realm couldn't be said to be wrong, after all, they wanted to dominate the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms. However, due to some uncontrollable factors, he was destined to walk in a different direction from the Heavenly Talisman Realm. In that case, he decided to end everything here. As long as the Heavenly Talisman Realm was willing to release Jun Mengchen and Bai Wuya, all the grudges of the past would vanish like smoke. In the future, if they met again on the path of dominance, they would fight against each other, relying on their own methods. But if the Heavenly Talisman Realm wasn't willing to release them, for the sake of Jun Mengchen and Bai Wuya, the Heavenly Talisman Realm wouldn't just be an opponent on the path of dominance. They would become enemies as well. How can we give up on traitors so easily? However, they are still members of our sect after all. As long as you and them are willing to submit, our Heavenly Talisman Realm is willing to accept you all into our sect again. One of the Empyreans from the Heavenly Talisman Realm in the lead calmly spoke. How could it be so simple if they wanted them to release Qin Wentian? No matter what, the Heavenly Talisman Realm was the overlord of a world in the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms. These people have already entered the tutelage of the Heavenly Talisman Realm Lord. How could they betray him just because he said so? What did the Heavenly Talisman Realm mean? Maybe, they basically didn't know what sort of existence the Heavenly Talisman Realm was. Right now, the laws of the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms had changed and the seals were loosened, completely disrupting their original plans. Unifying the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms was no longer as important as before. However, if they could unify this entire world, it would still be of some use. In addition, they had spent so many years of effort, they didn't want to waste their efforts just like that. They rejected us. Qin Wentian silently sighed in his heart. His gaze turned to Jun Mengchen and Bai Wuya. His white robes fluttered in the wind. He stood there, nobody knew what he was thinking. Heavenly Talisman Realm, are you sure you want to do this? Qin Wentian asked again. The words of a saint carry enormous weight. You should understand the meaning of being an Empyrean. The 4 Empyreans of the Heavenly Talisman Realm naturally wouldn't compromise. Qin Wentian also didn't have the qualifications to make them compromise. Fine. Since this is the case, Mengchen, senior brother Bai, wait for me for a few days. I will naturally rescue the 2 of you. Qin Wentian stared at Jun Mengchen and Bai Wuya as he spoke. Senior brother Qin, I will wait for you. Jun Mengchen had a radiant smile on his face. Although he was imprisoned, he was still very happy to see his senior brother Qin returning alive and in such a domineering manner. He was truly happy. He believed in his senior brother Qin's words. If his senior brother Qin said he would be able to rescue him, he would definitely be able to. Right. Bai Wuya nodded and only spoke a single word. Qin Wentian no longer glanced at the experts from the Heavenly Talisman Realm. He stared at the people in the air and spoke, I, Qin Wentian, summoned the experts of the Immortal Realms here for 2 reasons. Firstly, it's for revenge. Now that the grudge has been settled, the second reason is to unify the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms. In the history of the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms, there have been many ancient emperors who unified the Immortal Realms, leaving behind a glorious history. Today, I'm imitating the ancient emperors and wish to unify the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms, putting an end to the chaos and killing each other. In this chaotic era, the geniuses contended for supremacy, Tao elements appeared. How can it be so easy to unify the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms? Someone spoke. It's precisely because of this that the rules of the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms have changed. This is why we need to unify the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms and set a new rule. Right now, it's time for cultivation to flourish. Our Azure Mystic Immortal Realms should have many outstanding geniuses who can verify their Daos and become ancient emperors. The present cannot be compared to the past. With so many Empyreans descending from the supreme ancient immortal realms, even if you all stepped into the ancient emperor realm, who can be invincible under the heavens? Just with me around, no one can defeat me. Since this is the case, what's the point of killing each other? After everyone comprehend the Tao elements, if you can verify your Daos, you will naturally have a way to head to the supreme ancient immortal realms. Qin Wentian continued, Azure Mystic is boundlessly vast, there are countless experts here. However, other than those from the supreme ancient immortal realms, who in Azure Mystic can be stronger than me? I want to unify the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms, it isn't for myself. All of you are useless to me. As for the so-called glory, I feel even more disdain for it. In the supreme ancient immortal realms, I'm also a palace lord and the territory I govern isn't any weaker than the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms. Hence, I hope to unify the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms. It's not because of fame and benefits. Those who are willing to submit to me will be under my protection. However, all of you have to listen to my commands. Everyone, please consider it carefully. The experts from the various powers felt their hearts shaking when they heard Qin Wentian's words. In the history of Azure Mystic, there were ancient emperors who unified the world but they eventually had to leave. To them, fame and benefits truly didn't have much meaning. Right now, Qin Wentian already controlled the myriad Devil Islands and the Evergreen Kingdom. In addition, the Namhuang clan, GD and many other powers would clearly follow him. The strength under his control already surpassed half of the peak powers in the immortal realms. If they submitted to him, they would be able to form an extremely powerful alliance. If they didn't submit, they wouldn't be protected. This was especially so when the power under Qin Wentian's control suppressed them. They basically wouldn't be able to say anything. This was something they had to consider. My heavenly talisman realm has established the immortal Qianbian gate in Azure Mystic, similarly wanting to unify the immortal realms. For those who are willing to submit to my immortal Qianbian gate, they will be protected by our heavenly talisman realm. An expert from the heavenly talisman realm spoke. The heavenly talisman realm is a major power in the supreme ancient immortal realms and has existed for countless years in Azure Mystic. In the future, there would be more Empyreans descending here. Everyone, please consider this carefully. Who is willing to follow my Jiang clan? An expert from the Jiang clan spoke. The Empyreans in the air all had expressions of interest on their faces. Right now, 3 hegemonic powers were vying for control of the immortal realms. How interesting would these people choose? No matter who they chose, they would definitely offend the other 2 hegemonic powers. Would they be able to endure such rage? My Wenxin Temple will not participate in the disputes of Azure Mystic. The Reverend from the Wenxin Temple pressed his palms together. Reverend, given the current circumstances of Azure Mystic, how can the Wenxin Temple stand alone? The expert from the Jiang clan calmly spoke. Reverend, your state of heart is transcendent. Wenxin Temple is a sacred ground. If you are unwilling to participate in the disputes of Azure Mystic, I naturally won't force you. I, Qin, am willing to protect Azure Mystic. If there's anyone who dares to disturb the cultivation of the reverends from the Wenxin Temple, that person would be my enemy. Qin Wentian spoke, his words causing the Empyreans from the Jiang clan to glance at him. Was he trying to oppose him? The words of the two of them clearly showed the difference in their demeanor. This old monk represents the Wenqin temple to thank benefactor Qin. The reverend pressed his palms together and bowed. Reverend is too polite. Qin Wentian returned the gesture. Back then, the Wenqin temple acted for him. This was something that should be done. The immortal realms are in chaos. I also don't wish for the world to be filled with killing and corpses. I'm willing to follow the general trend. The Hokage Sengoku Kingdom shall follow the footsteps of the Evergreen Kingdom. The Dark North Immortal Emperor contemplated for a moment before he spoke. Since Qin Wentian was acquainted with his daughter Yu Huang and was also good friends with Nongyue, he naturally was willing to stand on Qin Wentian's side. Many thanks for uncle's help. Qin Wentian spoke to the Dark North Immortal Emperor, referring to him as uncle, treating the Dark North Immortal Emperor as an elder. This caused many people to have strange looks on their faces. The Dark North Immortal Emperor also felt more at ease. Since the Dark North Immortal Emperor is willing to submit, my 100 Refinements sect, Jadestage Immortal Palace and Hokage Sengoku Kingdom are one. We are willing to submit as well. The sect leader of the 100 Refinements sect stated. The Jadestage Immortal Palace mistress nodded to Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian nodded to both sides. In the northern regions of the Immortal Realms, they would be able to conquer half of it. My Chaotic Sky sect is willing to submit to the Jiang clan. Hearing the Chaotic Sky sect's expert express his stance, the Jiang clan's transcendent one smiled and said, "Your choice will be wise." After that, the various major powers all expressed their stances. The Shooting Sun Kingdom of the Central Region was willing to follow Qin Wentian. The Thunder God Hall, Snowdrift Sage Hall, Nibblesky Sacred Sect were all willing to follow the Jiang clan. Some of the major powers in the western regions, as well as the Beast God Sect, were willing to submit to the Immortal Qianbian Gate. Just like what the Empyreans of the Jiang clan have said, in this chaotic world, since Empyreans appeared, they were destined to unify the Immortal Realms. The demons of the Desolate Mountains are willing to retreat to the desolate 10,000 mountain range, not entering the Immortal Realms. A greater demon from the demon race, Baze, spoke in a light voice. Back then when the demon god mountain appeared, the demons of the Desolate Mountains were all unexcelled in the world. But now, due to the circumstances, quite a few of their demon races were massacred, causing the other demons to feel sympathy for them. But they were also unwilling to submit to Wuxia. Hence, they could only retreat. Return to the Desolate Mountains. Many people coldly laughed. The Immortal Realms were already like this, how could they retreat just because they wanted to? But right now, they didn't express their stance. In the future, everything would be clear. Today, countless experts of the Immortal Realms gathered in the royal capital of the Evergreen Kingdom. Qin Wentian tyrannically took revenge, killing countless experts and Empyreans. But in the end, the Immortal Realms were divided into 3 factions. Chapter 1696. Qin Wentian stood in the air, staring at the experts here. The situation today was naturally impossible to resolve. He wanted to unify the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms, but the Empyreans from both the Jiang clan and Heavenly Talisman Realm stepped out. In such a situation, it was clearly impossible for them to start a war. If not, regardless of victory or defeat, the people around him would surely suffer a calamity. Since everyone has made their choice, the matter today shall end here. Everyone, please return. Qin Wentian waved his hand, incomparably carefree. All his enemies who encircled the Evergreen Kingdom back then were all killed by him. Next, only the unification of the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms was left. There was still the matter of Jun Mengchen, Bai Wuya and the others that had yet to be rescued. The experts from the Heavenly Talisman Realm stared at Qin Wentian. Was this an expulsion order? Qin Wentian, are you really determined not to submit to your sect? The Empyreans from the Heavenly Talisman Realm were still filled with reluctance. If Qin Wentian submitted, even if the Jiang clan was weak, they could directly unify the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms. If Jun Mengchen and Bai Wuya suffered any injuries, I want the Heavenly Talisman Realm to be buried together with them. Qin Wentian coldly spoke. The four Empyreans from the Heavenly Talisman Realm glared at Qin Wentian as killing intent flashed in their eyes. It was as though they wanted to kill Qin Wentian right now. Qin Wentian, you will regret this. The experts from the Heavenly Talisman Realm spoke. After that, they waved their hands and led the experts from the Immortal Qianbian Gate away. Farewell. The experts from the Jiang clan also led their subordinates away. The experts from the myriad Devil Islands allowed them to leave. The people in the royal palace all felt a sense of loss and disappointment. The things that happened today toppled everything they knew. Even Empyreans had fallen, and all the ancient emperors appeared at the same time. This was simply too shocking. Sadly, a heaven-shaking battle didn't occur in the end, allowing the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms to be unified. But no matter what, the things that happened today in the Evergreen Kingdom were already sufficient to be recorded in the annals of history. There were very few records of ancient emperors, but today, they witnessed Qin Wentian killing an ancient emperor character, a living legend. 1,000 years later, this would surely become a legend in the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms, leaving behind a glorious stroke in the annals of history. After nearly 200 years, the two wars that occurred in the Evergreen Kingdom were both historic immortal wars. With disappointment in their hearts, many people left. There were also some who decided to stay in the Evergreen Kingdom. Since the Immortal Realms were now divided into 3 parts, it was clear that Qin Wentian would use the Evergreen Kingdom as his base of operations. Maybe, this royal capital of the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms would become a majestic city that had never existed before. The major powers that submitted to Qin Wentian didn't leave. They still had some misgivings. This was especially so for the Shooting Sun Kingdom. Right now, the Immortal Realms were divided into 3 factions. Peak-stage Immortal Emperors were no longer as important. Only Empyreans had the qualifications to decide the overall situation of the Immortal Realms. Today, Qin Wentian's performance was so domineering, killing ancient emperors and controlling more than half of the Immortal Realms. But why were there still so many powers that submitted to the Jiang clan and the Immortal Qianbian Gate? Because, Qin Wentian was only a single Empyrean while the other party had several Empyreans. This directly influenced the choices of many people. Those Empyreans who came to watch the show also left. The demons of the desolate mountain range that invaded the Immortal Realms also began to retreat, preparing to return to the desolate mountains or focus on cultivation. After the Demon God Mountain, the desolate mountains underwent a transformation. Initially, they thought that they would be able to contend for supremacy under the heavens. But who would have thought that the rules of Azure Mystic would change and so many Empyreans would appear? In the Evergreen Kingdom Palace, after everyone dispersed, there were still many experts remaining. The Dark North Immortal Emperor and Baiming Nongyue, the sect leader of the 100 Refinements sect, and Li Yufeng, the Supreme Beauty Palace mistress of the Jadestage Immortal Palace, the ruler of the Shooting Sun Kingdom, and the other princes and princesses all walked over, standing before Qin Wentian, yet they didn't know how to address him. Right now, given Qin Wentian's current strength, it wasn't too much to address him as a senior. But after all, Qin Wentian was still too young. Everyone, just call me Wentian. Qin Wentian didn't care too much about formalities. This isn't too appropriate. The ruler of the Shooting Sun Kingdom spoke. Right now, you already control over half of the Immortal Realms. You will eventually need a title. The people of the myriad Devil Islands can call themselves Devil Sovereigns, but what should we call ourselves? His words were filled with goodwill. Directly addressing Qin Wentian, as Qin Wentian was a little too arrogant. Ordinary emperors are no longer sufficient to describe your cultivation base. Qin Wentian has the word heaven in it. Why don't we call you Heaven Empyrean? The palace mistress of the Jadestage Immortal Palace spoke in a gentle voice, extremely pleasant to the ears. As the sound of her voice faded, the eyes of many flashed. This name wasn't bad at all. Qin Wentian's cultivation base had already surpassed the realm of emperors. It wasn't appropriate for him to call himself an emperor. However, the word Heaven Empyrean didn't merely represent one's cultivation base. It was also a form of respect. Heaven Empyrean, the monarch of the heavens, controlling the entire sky. Good name. The ruler of the Shooting Sun Kingdom nodded. Indeed, it's not bad. Why don't we call you Heaven Empyrean? Since you wish to unify Azure Mystic, you must have a title. Since the Dark North Immortal Emperor has spoken, Qin Wentian nodded lightly. The words of the Dark North Immortal Emperor were right. Since he wanted to unify Azure Mystic, he needed a title. The word Heaven Empyrean was more suitable. We pay our respects to the Heaven Empyrean. The sect leader of the 100 Refinements sect bowed. We pay our respects to the Heaven Empyrean. The experts here all bowed together to show their respect. The Southern Phoenix matriarch and the others smiled. After that, their silhouettes flashed as they appeared around Qin Wentian. We pay our respects to the Heaven Empyrean. Everyone, there's no need to be so polite. Qin Wentian stretched out his hand. Since everyone is willing to advance and retreat together with me, I'm prepared to use the Evergreen Kingdom as the foundation to construct teleportation arrays between the major powers, connecting all of them together to deal with the changes in Azure Mystic. Right. Everyone nodded. However, I still have a suggestion. I hope that all the major powers can relocate to the royal capital of the Evergreen Kingdom. Qin Wentian spoke, causing the expressions of the experts here to change. Qin Wentian knew what they were thinking and continued, I'm not doing this because I want the Evergreen Kingdom to control all of you. Right now, the immortal realms are in chaos. Since all of you trust me, I naturally have to be responsible for all of you. In times of chaos, even if you manage to construct teleportation arrays, Empyreans would be able to destroy them instantly. There's no way for us to activate them in time. The Evergreen Kingdom Palace is extremely vast. We can construct many buildings of the same level as the Evergreen Kingdom Palace, guarding the various locations of the Royal Palace. Now that the spatial passageway between the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms and the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms has been opened, there would be many Empyreans from the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms descending. I temporarily have no idea what the reason is, but this matter will be concluded sooner or later. At that time, I will also return to the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms. At that time, if everyone is willing to follow me to the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms or stay behind, I won't force you. At that time, if you all want to move back to your original location, you can do so as well. Qin Wentian slowly spoke. Everyone nodded. There was indeed no problem with Qin Wentian saying this. In the future, after Qin Wentian left, the unified Azure Mystic Immortal Realms would no longer be as united as a piece of iron. Without Empyreans to maintain the stability of the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms, the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms would definitely disintegrate. From this, it seems that Qin Wentian truly didn't have any selfish motives. Also, to them, the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms was extremely tempting. Many of them have been stuck at the peak stage of the Immortal Emperor realm for far too many years, yet they had no way to break through. Everyone, just make your choice. I won't force you all. Since I promise to protect all of you, I will naturally do my best. However, if I can't do it with my strength, don't blame me. Qin Wentian spoke. We understand the heart of the Heaven Empyrean. My Hokage Sengoku Kingdom is willing to relocate. The Dark North Immortal Emperor spoke. The immortal realms are boundlessly vast, it was impossible to control everyone. In the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms, was the Lifire Palace strong enough? But it was also impossible for everyone to listen to their orders. But in truth, if one controlled the power of the upper echelons, it was equivalent to controlling everything. Since this is the case, my 100 Refinements sect is also willing to relocate. Everyone expressed their stance. Qin Wentian smiled and nodded. Chongqing the Great, Nanfeng Yaoyue and the others all laughed. They knew that a hegemonic power in the azure mystic immortal realms would soon be born in the Evergreen Kingdom. Go! Qin Wentian waved his hand. His silhouette descended from the air. The storm that shook the immortal realms finally came to an end. The immortal realms shook as countless people discussed about this. The supreme genius Qin Wentian has returned today. He has already become an ancient emperor-level existence, standing above all immortal emperors. The names of the Demon Lord and the Celestial Emperor spread throughout the world. Those who had witnessed the battle with their own eyes became guests of honor no matter where they went. They became the topic of their conversations. Gradually, many people who had not witnessed the battle began to brag about it. When they talked about the battle, it was as if they had seen it with their own eyes. They described it vividly. In the royal capital of the Evergreen Kingdom, countless experts of the immortal realms gathered, unwilling to leave. They heard that the Heaven Empyrean wanted to establish the Evergreen Kingdom as an alliance of hegemonic powers in the immortal realms. How could they miss out on such an opportunity? Right now, every inch of land in the royal capital of the Evergreen Kingdom was as valuable as gold. Countless people were vying for it. The expansion of the royal palace, the Evergreen Kingdom, the Namhuang clan and many other major powers gathered all the skilled craftsmen in the world, using their powerful cultivation bases to construct immortal palaces. The Namhuang clan, the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom, the 100 Refinements sect, the Jadestage Immortal Palace and others all started to construct immortal palaces. For a period of time, it was unknown how lively the royal capital of the Evergreen Kingdom was. In a city in the eastern regions of the immortal realms, many people in an inn were discussing about the matters that happened in the Evergreen Kingdom. At this moment, two travel-worn figures entered the inn and sat down, ordering some food and wine. These two people were a man and a woman. Their combination was extremely unharmonious. The man was chubby and had a cultivation base at the Immortal Foundation realm, while the woman was extremely beautiful. Our days are truly miserable, we actually spent so much effort. Xian Xian, this fatty has let you down, I made you suffer with me. Fatty had a pitiful look on his face as he stared at the woman. That beautiful woman rolled her eyes. We've already followed you for so many years and you're still talking about this? Compared to the past, it's already very good for us to have a foothold in the immortal realms. Come, wife, eat more. In the future when this fatty strikes it rich, I will roast some greater demons for you to nourish your body. Fatty laughed. Huh, Fatty, you really know how to boast shamelessly. Do you think you are the Heaven Empyrean? Someone at the side laughed. Yeah, how glorious is the Heaven Empyrean. He roasted the demon kings of the Fourok race and Sun Gold demon race and fed them to his demonic beast companions. Truly unparalleled since ancient times. It's the Heaven Empyrean again. Fatty's eyes flashed. This time after he returned, he discovered that many people mentioned this title. It seemed that the Heaven Empyrean was an extraordinary existence, a supreme character in the immortal realms. Yeah, it's rumored that the Heaven and Earth Empyrean originated from a particle world. Back then, he was even rejected by the Eastern Sage Immortal sect as a disciple. After that, he entered the Immortal Champion Gate. Who would have thought that he would have such accomplishments today? The Eastern Sage Immortal sect must have been blind. What did you guys say? Fatty jumped up from his chair. When he saw the gazes of everyone turning to him, he swallowed his saliva and asked, Who is the Heaven Empyrean? The Heaven Empyrean is naturally the Heaven Empyrean. He naturally has another identity, the Myriad Devil Sovereign, the current #1 character in the world. That person spoke. I'm asking for his name. Fatty shouted loudly. The Heaven Empyrean, Qin Wentian. Someone replied after a moment of silence, as boundless yearning could be seen in his eyes. When this name was mentioned, everyone had looks of worship in their eyes. Fatty blinked, he was stunned for a few seconds. After that, he jumped up. Fatty's beautiful life is finally here. Chapter 1697. In the blink of an eye, an Empyrean was insta-killed. Qin Wentian, you actually dare to be so impudent? That expert who just arrived roared. He was none other than the Empyrean guarding the heavenly talisman realm and was extremely powerful. A spatial gate appeared. Qin Wentian and Hua Taishu directly stepped into it. Their immortal senses swept out, enveloping many experts, but they didn't make a move. Many of them were characters below the immortal emperor realm. When the experts from the heavenly talisman realm discovered Qin Wentian and Hua Taishu, shock could be seen on their faces. If it was in the past, the heavenly talisman realm wouldn't be invaded because others wouldn't be able to enter. However, Qin Wentian could. The name of the Heaven Empyrean has already spread throughout the immortal realms. Just like what the matriarch Nanfeng Yaoyue said, everyone in the world knows of him. And earlier, the conversation between Hua Taishu and Qin Wentian made them feel that Hua Taishu has already reached Qin Wentian's level. The result is the same. Hua Taishu's voice was so calm that there were no fluctuations at all. He just broke through not long ago and stabilized his cultivation base when he learned of the news that Qin Wentian became a Heaven Empyrean and destroyed the Sun Gold race. Qin Wentian continued flying forward with Hua Taishu following closely behind him. The two of them captured more and more immortal emperors. As long as Qin Wentian willed it, these immortal emperors would instantly be annihilated. However, Qin Wentian didn't kill them. Unless there was no other choice, he wasn't willing to start a massacre in the heavenly talisman realm. Those immortal emperors all had looks of terror on their faces as they felt their hearts turning to ashes. Empyreans from the heavenly talisman realm were actually killed in a single strike by the two of them. Who would be able to defend against such an alliance? Boom! A heaven-shaking might gushed forth, instantly enveloping Qin Wentian and Hua Taishu. The entire sky changed color, and after that, the entire world froze as frost descended. Those immortal emperors felt their bodies stiffening, unable to move. Those vines lost their luster of life. Qin Wentian and Hua Taishu's bodies were about to freeze as well. Qin Wentian's gaze flickered. He felt that Hua Taishu had become different. A figure slowly walked over, exuding an incomparably majestic aura. Cracking sounds rang out as Hua Taishu and Qin Wentian both broke through the power of the ice seal. Qin Wentian and Hua Taishu continued forward, as if they did not care about the terrifying destructive power created by the two of them. In reality, it was normal for them to have such an effect. Hua Taishu was proficient in the power of reincarnation. After comprehending the source of his spiritual source, his eyes were the source of his spiritual source. With a single glance, he would release his reincarnation eye technique, causing people to be trapped within it and enter the image of reincarnation. The other party would not be able to break free immediately. This must be the real ancient emperor that was born in Qin Xian. Qin Wentian did not expect it to be him. From the looks of it, the speed of his cultivation was not any slower than Qin Wentian, who had many opportunities. Both of them exuded magnificence through the generations. They were none other than Qin Wentian and Hua Taishu. They didn't head to the immortal Qianbian gate but chose to enter the heavenly talisman realm instead. You destroyed the Sun Gold race. The person who came was also clad in white. His figure was tall and slender, exuding a transcendent aura. He stared at Qin Wentian as he asked. He believed that the changes in the heavenly talisman realm were all because of the will of some existences in the upper world. And this place was ultimately the place where he belonged. Although Qin Wentian didn't know what these people from the supreme ancient immortal realms were searching for, he knew that there would definitely be some secrets hidden in Azure Mystic. Back then, the heavenly talisman realm and the Jiang clan initially wanted to expand, borrowing the power of Azure Mystic to search for the secrets. But now that the restrictions were loosened, many experts from the supreme ancient immortal realms personally came to the lower world. Qin Wentian naturally didn't know that in the eastern regions of the Immortal Realms, a fatty was jumping in joy when he heard his name. He also didn't know that right now in the Immortal Realms, countless people who were acquainted with Qin Wentian felt great waves of shock in their hearts when they heard his name. Among these familiar people, there were friends and brothers whom Qin Wentian had gone through trials and tribulations together with, there were beautiful women who were secretly in love with him, there were also people who had grudges with him. All of them gradually heard of Qin Wentian's name. Qin Wentian knew that back then in the city of ancient emperors, the myriad incarnations immortal king died in the hands of the Sun Gold race. Hua Taishu naturally wanted revenge. In other words, even if Qin Wentian didn't act, the Sun Gold race would still become history. Where are Jun Mengchen and Bai Wuya? If they don't speak, kill them. Qin Wentian spoke. The immortal emperors he captured all felt their hearts trembling. One of them spoke at the same time, they are in the immortal Qianbian Gate. The spatial passageway to the supreme ancient immortal realms has appeared. Seems like it's time for us to return. I heard that the immortal Qianbian Gate has captured Jun Mengchen. When are you heading there? I will accompany you there. Hua Taishu's voice didn't contain much emotions. However, he was willing to fight together with Qin Wentian. Back then in the city of ancient emperors, Qin Wentian, him, Jun Mengchen, Namhuang Yunshi and the others had fought side by side and experienced many things together. The two of them didn't bother about him. At this instant, Hua Taishu's eyes started to spin. They were no longer a pair of eyes, they were like a dimension, world, directly enveloping that Empyrean from the heavenly talisman realm. At this instant, that Empyrean only felt his will going out of control. He was actually shuttling through the endless cycle of samsara as scenes flashed through his mind, causing him to lose control of himself. There's no need. You should have a messaging crystal on you, right? Give me one and you can directly contact me when the time comes. Hua Taishu's words caused Qin Wentian's eyes to flash with a strange light. Hua Taishu seemed to have a very good understanding of the supreme ancient immortal realms. However, he didn't ask anything and directly took out a messaging crystal and sent his immortal sense into it. After that, he passed his own messaging crystal to Hua Taishu. In the blink of an eye, several months passed. The Azure Mystic Immortal Realms were still in a tripartite balance of power. However, none of them attacked each other. Maybe, all of them had some trepidation in their hearts. Seems like I've arrived before you and effected your revenge. Qin Wentian spoke. So it turned out that the person who came was none other than Hua Taishu. Time continued to flow by. After the tripartite balance of power was established, things seemed to be much calmer on the surface. In the royal capital of the Evergreen Kingdom, several majestic ancient palaces could be seen, exuding uncanny workmanship. There were rumors saying that during the construction of these palaces, there were even supreme grandmaster-level characters who created grand formations. However, no one knew if the rumors were true or false. The Evergreen Kingdom Palace was even more majestic and majestic. Countless experts were busy working but Qin Wentian was very carefree. Right now, with Mo Qingcheng, Little Rascal, Purgatory and the others by his side, he could finally set aside some of the worries in his heart. Naturally, he wouldn't forget about the matter between Jun Mengchen and his senior brother Bai Wuya. Okay, when the time is right, I will head there. You can cultivate in the royal palace first. Qin Wentian spoke. Invasion, Qin Wentian has invaded. Very swiftly, the experts of the heavenly talisman realm spread the news. However, since Qin Wentian has already entered, he naturally wouldn't care. Swishing sounds rang out as a vine shot out with lightning speed, shooting towards an immortal emperor. That immortal emperor's expression drastically changed as he frantically tried to flee. However, how would he be able to escape in time? The thick vine directly wrapped around him. After that, Qin Wentian brought him along as they advanced. At this moment, in the immortal Qianbian Gate, before a floating immortal palace, 3 Empyreans were gathered together. Their expressions were extremely unsightly to behold. They have already received the news that Qin Wentian has invaded the heavenly talisman realm. Along the way, more and more immortal emperors were discovered. The vines danced about unceasingly. Qin Wentian seemed to have transformed into a tree demon. Not long after, over 10 immortal emperors were bound by the vines. These immortal emperors struggled madly, but how could they break free? On the other hand, Qin Wentian was still concerned about the major events in the immortal realms. According to his spies, many mysterious experts have appeared in many places in the supreme ancient immortal realms. They seemed to be searching for something and were extremely low profile. In fact, there were even people who saw Empyreans traveling to extremely far-away places, exploring the unknown regions of Azure Mystic. During these days, other than accompanying his friends and family, Qin Wentian would occasionally guide the Chongqing the Great, the Southern Phoenix Matriarch and the others in their cultivation. Given his current strength and experience, it was naturally easy for him to do so. In addition, he also brought many treasures from the upper world for them to use. He hoped that they would be able to become Empyreans. Many among them had already been stuck at the peak stage of the immortal Emperor realm for many years. The distance between them and the Empyrean realm was just a matter of a single thought. He has already broken through to the Empyrean realm. Qin Wentian spoke in a light voice. Nam Huang Yunshi's beautiful eyes gleamed with sharpness. Little Rascal also had a look of shock on his face. After that, he lowered his head in dejection. This genius has slacked off a little. However, Qin Wentian didn't manage to help them break through to the Empyrean realm. Instead, an Empyrean came to the royal palace of the Evergreen Kingdom. And at this moment, Qin Wentian unleashed a powerful attack with extreme speed. How could he not kill his opponent? This was simply an unstoppable combination of attacks. An Empyrean didn't even have the chance to call for help or inform others before he vanished. That was an ancient emperor-level existence, yet he was insta-killed just like that. At this moment, a terrifying sense of danger bore down on him. He roared in rage, but his consciousness was still trapped in the world of reincarnation, unable to extricate himself. The destructive energy enveloped him and he couldn't control his fear. His body started to tremble and after that, he felt pain. However, this pain was very short because it only lasted for an instant. His entire body was destroyed by the attacks, disintegrating into nothingness. How could he still think? When Qin Wentian saw Hua Taishu, he started. This was especially so when he sensed the cultivation base of Hua Taishu. Great waves of shock rose in his heart. After exchanging immortal senses, Hua Taishu directly departed, as though he had never been here before. Qin Wentian stared at his departing back as a light of contemplation flashed in his eyes. At this moment, a few figures appeared beside Qin Wentian. Little Rascal and Nam Huang Yunshi also came over. Their eyes flashed with a bright light. Back then in the city of ancient emperors, they had fought side by side with Hua Taishu before. Today, the spatial passageway leading to the heavenly talisman realm was directly opened from the outside. 2 extraordinarily handsome figures in white entered the heavenly talisman realm together. Chapter 1698. Within the immortal Qianbian Gate, there were many familiar faces of Qin Wentian. The Emperor of Qianbian, the Taishan Immortal King, the Saber Lord of Death, Zi Qingxian and the others. Their gazes turned to Qin Wentian as their hearts were in chaos. After that, they felt a sense of relief. Finally, everything has ended, they didn't have to shoulder all of this anymore. The Emperor of Qianbian could actually understand Qin Wentian's feelings. He actually didn't want to start a war with the heavenly talisman realm, but he had no choice but to do so. He understood this supreme genius whom he had personally watched grow up too well. Careful. The countenances of the 3 Empyreans drastically changed as their consciousnesses fell into a trance. The scenes in their minds were no longer under their control, but their reactions were extremely fast. One of the Empyreans unleashed boundless runic light as a golden screen of light instantly appeared in the sky. The runic light intersected with each other, transforming into a shield of law source energy in front of the Empyrean. Qin Wentian's palms blasted downwards, slamming into the golden screen of light, shattering it apart. The three Empyreans managed to break free as they instantly retreated in three different directions. Boom! A dazzling bolt of lightning exploded in the space enveloped by the wings of the great rock. Terrifying bolts of lightning shot forth, akin to divine lightning from the 9 heavens, wanting to destroy everything. It was simply unimaginable what would happen if that strike landed on Qin Wentian. But at this moment it was actually blocked by a sword, enveloping the boundless destructive might within. Qin Wentian was trapped in the gravitational space, unable to move at all. Yet another Empyrean spear shot over, yet Qin Wentian only saw Qin Wentian waving his hands as an incomparably resplendent sword light flashed. A sword appeared in front of Qin Wentian, emitting a shrill screech as the sword's origin energy circulated around it. That sword suddenly transformed into a gigantic rock, spreading its wings wide open as it soared through the air. With a flap of its wings, the space in front of it was enveloped by the rock. Qin Wentian was known as the #1 in the world because he had killed a transcendent in the Evergreen Kingdom. He was indeed terrifying. That Empyrean who faced off against Qin Wentian earlier turned as pale as paper. He instantly retreated and executed incantations, wanting to open a spatial passageway to the heavenly talisman realm to flee. 3 Empyreans and 2 of his companions were killed. He knew that if he didn't leave now, there would be no suspense at all. He would die for sure. Light and sword intent gushed forth frenziedly, gushing towards that Empyrean. That Empyrean had a layer of terrifying defensive source energy protecting him, but at this moment, a sharp whistling sound rang out as the demon's sword pierced through space, piercing through the body of that Empyrean. For an Empyrean who had no will to fight and wanted to flee, his combat prowess would naturally be greatly reduced. Also, his back was facing Qin Wentian, how could he not die? Hence, there was no need to choose. Everything happened too quickly. In the time it takes for sparks to fly off a piece of flint, a Buddhist Dharma body manifested around Qin Wentian. Millions of arms extended out at the same time, manifesting a giant palm imprint that was akin to a divinity manifested, blasting towards that Empyrean who was trapped in the samsara eye technique. The experts of the Immortal Qianbian Gate all stared in shock at the palm imprint slamming into that Empyrean from the heavenly talisman realm. A thunderous boom rang out as the heavens and earth trembled. Go! The eyes of the 3 of them gleamed with killing intent as they executed incantations. A moment later, an entrance appeared, directly opening up a pathway to the heavenly talisman realm. But at this moment, they only saw a spatial rift opening up as ancient vines shot over, binding over 10 immortal emperors before them. Behind them, Qin Wentian and Hua Taishu appeared. Qin Wentian directly commanded the experts of the heavenly talisman realm to open up a pathway to the Immortal Qianbian Gate for them, bringing them here. 3 Empyreans were all killed, not a single one was left. The Empyrean guarding the heavenly talisman realm must have also died. The Immortal Qianbian Gate which originally had the strongest power was instantly destroyed, becoming history in this chaotic world, leaving behind only a short period of glory. I initially didn't wish to do this, but since you all wanted to force me, I can only do this. Qin Wentian emotionlessly spoke. Hua Taishu didn't say anything. His eyes were terrifying as the eyes of samsara appeared once more. In an instant, the 3 Empyreans felt themselves falling into a trap, unable to extricate themselves. With a piercing sound, the sword light slashed down. The great rock slashed through the air as fresh blood splattered. That Empyrean was shredded into nothingness bit by bit under the radiance of the great rock. At this moment, the hearts of countless people pounded madly. From the moment Hua Taishu and Qin Wentian appeared at the Immortal Qianbian Gate, only a few breaths of time had passed. The battle erupted too quickly, the speed of their attacks was also extremely fast. In just an instant, an Empyrean was killed by Hua Taishu and Qin Wentian. In addition, this was a situation where 3 Empyreans were fighting against Qin Wentian and Hua Taishu. Hua Taishu was still holding onto the Empyrean in the middle, not allowing him to break free from his Samsara Eye technique. However, the Samsara Emperor Hua Taishu had actually also reached this level and was actually so powerful. This caused the people of the Immortal Chimbian Gate to feel extremely shocked. They couldn't help but to think that the ancient emperor guarding the Heavenly Talisman realm was most probably killed by these 2. Under the situation where 3 Empyreans were ganging up on them, one of them was actually killed by them. Let alone the fact that the ancient emperor of the Heavenly Talisman realm was guarding the Heavenly Talisman realm alone. How could he not die when facing the combined attacks of 2 Empyreans? Hua Taishu's eyes of samsara stared at the Empyrean who was proficient in gravity. He was similarly enduring the terrifying gravity and found it hard to move. However, his samsara eye technique caused his opponent to fall into a trap with a single glance. The 2 of them faced off against each other. He naturally understood that once he decided to act, he had to eliminate the threat immediately. If not, there would be endless repercussions in the future. At such a moment, he couldn't show any mercy. He also understood that although he still cared a little about the relationship between him and his sect, which was why he didn't kill anyone in the Heavenly Talisman realm other than Empyreans, his opponents were different. They viewed him as a traitor and wanted to unify the immortal realms. If there was a chance to act, they would definitely kill him and unify the immortal realms. At that time, the people around him would definitely be in deep trouble. However, the 2 Empyreans beside him weren't ordinary characters as well. One of them grabbed out through the air, causing Qin Wentian to feel an absolute gravitational force pressing down on him. His body froze and he couldn't move at all. The other Empyrean wielded a long spear and was bathed in lightning. Lightning from the 9 heavenly layers enveloped him as the sky rumbled. The clear sky instantly transformed into a world of lightning. The long spear in his hand directly pierced towards Qin Wentian, transforming into a violet light that was compressed to the extreme. If this spear pierced into Qin Wentian's body, the explosive force would definitely be able to shatter Qin Wentian's body into dust. Bang! Qin Wentian stabbed out with his spear. The origin source shield was deflected and was devoured by the long spear. Qin Wentian directly leapt through space and appeared before the Empyrean. The coordination between the 2 of them was extremely exquisite, so fast that no one could react. Boom! A powerful gravitational force bore down on Qin Wentian, making it extremely difficult for him to take a single step forward. Spatial light flashed as his body directly vanished. And at the same time, Hua Taishu's eye of samsara radiated an even more terrifying light, causing the expression of the Empyrean who used the origin source of gravity to contort. Qin Wentian wanted to kill him. All of them were Empyreans, none of them were weak. The coordination between the 2 of them was also extremely exquisite, there was no need for them to put in any effort. Traitor, you are truly impudent. The 3 Empyreans stared at Qin Wentian as their voices were extremely cold. Emperor Qinbian also arrived. When he saw Qin Wentian and Hua Taishu rushing over, his eyes gleamed with a strange light. In the end, they still broke off their alliance. In truth, this was something he didn't want to see. But back then, the Heavenly Talisman realm used Junmengchen and Bai Wuya to threaten Qin Wentian. He already knew that Qin Wentian would definitely act against the Heavenly Talisman realm. Given Qin Wentian's personality, he would definitely not tolerate this. Even if the other party was from the Heavenly Talisman realm, they had already touched Qin Wentian's bottom line. Why must you force me? Killing intent flashed in Qin Wentian's eyes. Since he wanted to act, he had no choice but to kill. If not, the threat of a character above the Immortal Emperor realm was too great. He might be able to handle it, but what about the Evergreen Kingdom? What about the Namhuang clan? What if the Namhuang clan decided to take revenge on Qing'er and Qingqing? Kill the person in the middle first. Hua Taishu transmitted his voice to Qin Wentian. His eyes of samsara locked onto the person in the middle. It was none other than the expert who released the runic barrier. Boundless light radiated from that person, yet he discovered that Hua Taishu's eyes had already transformed into a world of samsara. How could Qin Wentian allow him to leave so easily? Swishing sounds rang out as countless vines appeared. He stepped into the spatial gate, and after that, the vines directly wrapped around the body of the old man. Terrifying bolts of lightning and destruction erupted forth from the old man's body, shattering the vines completely. The three Empyreans from the Immortal Qianbian Gate exuded terrifying auras. Qin Wentian actually dared to attack the Heavenly Talisman realm. What they didn't expect was that the person who ended the glory days of the Immortal Qianbian Gate was once a disciple of the Heavenly Talisman realm. He was a core member of the Immortal Qianbian Gate and was known as Qin Wentian. After Qin Wentian killed an Empyrean, he faced off against the Empyrean who was proficient in lightning-type source energy. That Empyrean wielded a demon sword that resembled a great rock, spreading its wings and soaring up into the sky. When Qin Wentian infused his source energy into it, the demon sword soared through the sky as the shadow of a great rock manifested a sword intent, slamming into the boundless lightning bolts. His body fell downwards. At this instant, the gazes of everyone from the Immortal Qianbian Gate were all focused on him as their hearts pounded unceasingly. The demon sword hummed as a terrifying great rock manifested, radiating boundless sword intent as it shot towards that Empyrean. Qin Wentian advanced step by step, and with every step he took, the aura he exuded grew stronger. Numerous silhouettes soared up into the air. The experts from the Immortal Qianbian Gate felt their hearts pounding when they saw this scene. Qin Wentian actually killed his way here, and he wasn't alone. The other person was none other than Hua Taishu, a supreme genius with the title of the Samsara Immortal Emperor. An Empyrean died. Chapter 1699. Qin Wentian swept his gaze over the crowd. After that, he stepped out and directly appeared in an ancient cave in the Immortal Qianbian Gate. His sword intent flowed, shattering the cave as a prison appeared. Jun Mingchen, Bai Wuya and Qin Wentian were imprisoned there. Sword light flashed as a sharp sound rang out. The prison was broken apart as Qin Wentian landed on the ground. Senior brother Qin. Jun Mingchen's eyes gleamed. They already knew that Qin Wentian and Hua Taishu had come to save them. When they saw the two of them joining forces to kill 3 Empyreans, Jun Mingchen and the other 2 were extremely shocked. It was simply hard to imagine that their senior brother Qin was already so powerful. Not to mention, Hua Taishu was actually so powerful as well. Before this, they still felt that they were extremely powerful, but when compared to senior brother Qin and Hua Taishu, they felt that they were simply too weak. Bai Wuya smiled as he stared at Qin Wentian. Hundreds of years have passed, the seas have turned into mulberry fields. Bai Wuya had cultivated for so many years and had experienced many storms. But when he saw Qin Wentian, he still saw a miracle, causing his heart to be unable to calm down. He had watched Qin Wentian grow up. Back then, it was him who saw the Dongxing Heaven Emperor coming to his particle world to recruit a disciple. Back then, he saw Qin Wentian and recommended Qin Wentian to join the Heavenly Talisman realm. At that time, Qin Wentian was so weak, a mere celestial phenomenon ascendant, a junior with talent and potential. Bai Wuya had always taken care of Qin Wentian. Who would have thought that the current Qin Wentian was someone he could only look up to? Qin Wentian had actually joined forces with Hua Taishu to kill 3 Empyreans. This was simply unimaginable. These 2 were the disciples that the Dongxing Heaven Emperor had recruited back then in his particle world. If Eastern Sage could see the battle today, it was unknown how emotional he would be. He had missed out on 2 such characters, yet he actually accepted a descendant of an immortal king. Just by looking at his status, his judgment could be considered extremely rare since ancient times. What sort of characters were ancient emperors? It would be extremely rare for one to appear even after tens of thousands of years. Eastern Sage actually met two of them at the same time and even had the chance to accept them as his disciples. But with a single sentence from him, he missed out on this opportunity. Mengchen, senior brother, Qin Wentian smiled when he saw the two of them. "I've made you guys wait for so long, it's been tough on you." "What are you talking about?" Jun Mengchen's senior apprentice brother walked up and said, "Back then, when I walked this path, I thought that I would never have a chance to come out. Who would have thought that this world would belong to you guys? Bai Wuya, your junior apprentice brother is even stronger than me. Jun Mengchen, you have to work hard." Jun Mengchen scratched his head and said with a smile, "Of course I can't compare to senior brother, but I'm not weak either." "Really? What about him?" Bai Wuya stared at Hua Taishu as he spoke. Jun Mengchen's expression turned black. "How would I have known that I would encounter two such monsters?" Jun Mengchen felt extremely depressed. His talent was outstanding and he had never suffered such a setback before. Upon seeing the expression on Jun Mengchen's face, everyone laughed, feeling extremely relaxed. Right now, after saving Jun Mengchen and Bai Wuya, the matter with the Heavenly Talisman realm was concluded. As for the Immortal Qianbian Gate, Qin Wentian didn't plan to touch it. After all, it was once his home and the Emperor Lord had shown him kindness. He couldn't be heartless. Turning his gaze over, Qin Wentian stared at the Immortal Qianbian Gate. Right now, the Immortal Qianbian Gate had changed greatly compared to the past. The Emperor Lord walked over and stood before Qin Wentian as he spoke. "Wentian, I've let down Jun Mengchen and Bai Wuya." Qin Wentian stared at the Emperor Lord Qianbian only to hear Bai Wuya speaking, "Emperor Lord, this matter has nothing to do with you. You basically don't have the authority to choose. If not, there would be one more person in this prison. Other than that, there's no meaning to it." Bai Wuya was someone who could clearly differentiate between gratitude and grudges. There were experts from the Heavenly Talisman realm that descended from the upper worlds, existences above the Immortal Emperor realm. Although the Emperor Lord Qianbian was the leader of the Immortal sect in name, he basically had no authority to speak. Everything was decided by the people from the Heavenly Talisman realm. Back then, the Heavenly Talisman realm came into contact with the Emperor Lord Qianbian and supported him to establish the Immortal Qianbian Gate, defeating the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. In truth, the Heavenly Talisman realm was already preparing to unify Azure Mystic. That's right. Emperor Lord, this matter has nothing to do with the Immortal Qianbian Gate. Me and my two senior brothers made the decision and we will bear the consequences ourselves. How can we implicate others? Senior brother Qin, let's end this matter here. Jun Mengchen persuaded to Qin Wentian. He was worried that Qin Wentian would vent his anger on the Immortal Qianbian Gate because of him. I can understand. Qin Wentian nodded. He stared at the Emperor Lord Qianbian and asked, "Emperor Lord, do you have any plans for the future?" "Me?" The Emperor Lord Qianbian stared at the immortal sect he established with his own hands. His emotions were somewhat complicated. Although many Empyreans were killed by Qin Wentian, there were still many who followed the Empyreans of the Heavenly Talisman realm. Who wouldn't want fame and fortune? Many of them wanted to unify Azure Mystic and conquer the world. Among them, many were core characters of the Heavenly Talisman realm and were stronger than him. Even if he killed these Empyreans, he still wouldn't be able to control the Immortal Qianbian Gate. Right now, the Immortal Qianbian Gate was already in the hands of the Heavenly Talisman realm. I'm preparing to roam the world and cultivate well. I will go to the city of ancient emperors and see if I can raise my cultivation base a little. The Emperor Lord Qianbian smiled. He was prepared to give up everything here. Back then, he returned because of the conflict between him and the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. He wanted to prove himself. But now, everything was over. He wanted to truly pursue the martial path. Qin Wentian nodded. He then glanced at the Taishan Immortal King, Tuoba Saint Sky and the others before his gaze landed on Qingxian. He smiled and nodded to her as he transmitted his voice, Qingxian, if you are willing, you can come to the Evergreen Kingdom to cultivate. Everyone had their own ambitions. Qin Wentian wouldn't decide the path everyone would take in the future. After this matter concluded, he would naturally bring Jun Mengchen and Bai Wuya away. As for the others, they could all walk their own paths. They were all once friends, he naturally wouldn't vent his anger on his old friends in the immortal Qianbian Gate just because of the will of the Heavenly Talisman Realm. Emperor Lord, this is a messaging crystal. If you have any needs in the future, you can contact me directly. Qin Wentian exchanged immortal senses with the Emperor Lord Qianbian, leaving behind a messaging crystal for him. No matter what choice the Emperor Lord Qianbian made, he couldn't deny the kindness he had shown him in the past. If the Emperor Lord Qianbian encountered any difficulties, he would definitely help him. Naturally, this was also a warning to the people of the Heavenly Talisman Realm not to act against the Emperor Lord Qianbian. He believed that with his attitude, no one would dare to do so. I'm filled with anticipation for you to become the overlord of the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms. The Thousand Transformations Emperor Lord laughed as he stared at Qin Wentian. The young man in the past soared up into the heavens with a single step, eventually walking towards the peak of the world, becoming an ancient emperor-level character, leaving his name in history. I will. Qin Wentian smiled. Let's go. After speaking, he brought Jun Mengchen, Bai Wuya and the others away, directly going through the spatial passageway to the Heavenly Talisman Realm. It would be faster this way. Not long after, they returned to the Evergreen Kingdom Palace. Staring at the resplendent palace that was rebuilt, Jun Mengchen felt many emotions in his heart, as though it was a lifetime ago. Qin Wentian, Jun Mengchen, I'm leaving first. Hua Taishu stared at Qin Wentian and the others as he spoke. Qin Wentian started, you are leaving just like that? The matters in Azure Mystic have been concluded. I will head to the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms. I believe that in the future, we will still have the chance to meet again. Hua Taishu stared at Qin Wentian. You are always like this. Qin Wentian smiled. Alright, go ahead then. Let's meet again in the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms. I will wait for you at the peak of the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms. A rare smile appeared on Hua Taishu's face. After that, he turned and departed, exuding an incomparable carefreeness. That calm tone of his was filled with immense confidence. If it was someone else who said this, maybe Qin Wentian would feel that the other party was arrogant. But when these words came from Hua Taishu, he actually felt that this was how it should be. The peak of the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms? Qin Wentian stared at Hua Taishu's departing figure as he smiled. I'm filled with anticipation. This fellow is getting more and more mysterious. Jun Mengchen mumbled. He naturally felt gratitude towards Hua Taishu in his heart. That fellow didn't like to express himself but he was very principled when doing things. No one knew what he was thinking in his heart, no one knew what he would do. But because of their friendship, he didn't hesitate to take the initiative to invite Qin Wentian to rescue Qin Wentian. After saving Qin Wentian, he directly left, not exchanging more than a few words. Yeah. Qin Wentian nodded. Senior brother, how is the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms now? I truly want to go there and take a look. Jun Mengchen excitedly spoke. Very strong. Right now, I'm in the lifelong realm of the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms. The lifelong realm lord has a total of 9 world palace lords under him and I'm the world palace lord of one of them. Just the strength of my world palace alone isn't any weaker compared to the local hegemonic powers of the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms. You can very well imagine how strong a world is. Right now, the seal on Azure Mystic has loosened but even so, only world palace lords can descend to the lower realms. World overlords aren't allowed to do so, or I wonder what the consequences would be. Qin Wentian slowly spoke. Jun Mingchen had an intense look of yearning on his face. Seems like there's no meaning in the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms anymore. I'm preparing to follow Senior Brother to the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms. Why are you still staying here to unify Azure Mystic? There's no meaning to it. Jun Mengchen was still as carefree in front of Qin Wentian, saying whatever he wanted to say. This Azure Mystic is our home after all. There are too many things we are worried about. I hope that before I leave, I can unify Azure Mystic and deter the people of the upper world, returning Azure Mystic to an era of peace. Qin Wentian slowly spoke. As for what the future of Azure Mystic would be like after I leave, even if I want to, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to control it. Just like what he said in the past, he wanted to unify Azure Mystic. However, it wasn't for fame and fortune. At his level, fame and fortune were already meaningless to him. The incident at the Immortal Qianbian Gate soon circulated around the world. After all, this matter involved ancient emperor-level characters, and the number one expert of Azure Mystic, the Heaven Empyrean, participated in it. How could this not cause a commotion? For ancient emperor-level characters were killed in a single day. The Heaven Empyrean and the Samsara Immortal Emperor slaughtered their way into the Heavenly Talisman Realm and the Immortal Qianbian Gate, killing Empyreans and saving Jun Mengchen and Bai Wuya. For a period of time, the entire world trembled. Other than the current number one expert of Azure Mystic, the name of Hua Taishu also circulated around the world. The Samsara Immortal Emperor shocked the world with a single feat. Everyone in the world knew of him, and he became a character equal to the Heaven Empyrean. Chapter 1700. The Empyreans of the Heavenly Talisman Realm were all killed. The Immortal Qianbian Gate that was under their control instantly became a peak power. Without Empyreans, it was impossible for them to have a chance to rule the Azure Mystic Immortal. Those peak powers that chose to submit to the Immortal Qianbian Gate all started to regret their decision. The four Empyreans were directly killed. The Immortal Qianbian Gate was knocked down from its divine pedestal. The tripartite balance of power didn't last long before it was destroyed. Right now, there were two supreme powers vying for supremacy in Azure Mystic, but the people of the Immortal Realms were already discussing when the Heaven Empyrean Qin Wentian would unify Azure Mystic. The vast majority of people felt that it wouldn't be long before the Heaven Empyrean Qin Wentian would unify Azure Mystic. He would destroy the Jiang clan and become the sole hegemon under the heavens. Several days later, news circulated out that the Immortal Qianbian Gate had disintegrated. A power that was strong enough to rule the Azure Mystic Immortal was knocked down from its divine pedestal by Qin Wentian, becoming history. They also understood that in a situation where they didn't have Empyreans, let alone Qin Wentian, even if Qin Wentian didn't participate, they wouldn't be able to stand against the subordinates of Qin Wentian. After the Immortal Qianbian Gate disintegrated, all the experts dispersed. As for those powers that submitted to the Immortal Qianbian Gate, they came to the royal capital of the Evergreen Kingdom, wanting to submit to Qin Wentian. However, they were all rejected by Qin Wentian. Although he wanted to give Qin Xian a peaceful environment, he was not a good person. When he was fighting with the Immortal Qianbian Gate, both parties were on opposite sides. Since they chose to stand on the other side, there was no reason for them to surrender after failing. He would not be cruel enough to massacre these forces, but in the future, these forces were destined to not be able to stand on the top of Qin Xian. This was undeniable. If he were to take over Qin Xian would be controlled by these forces that followed him. After the Immortal Qianbian Gate, next would be the Jiang clan. That day in the Evergreen Kingdom, Qin Wentian had said that he wanted to kill Jiang Zihua, but the Jiang clan had rejected him. Now that the transcendence of the Immortal Qianbian Gate had been annihilated and the Immortal sect had disintegrated, would Qin Wentian spare the Jiang clan? The experts of the Immortal Realms were all waiting for the battle that would decide the future master of Azure Mystic to erupt. Today, Qin Wentian sent a messenger to the Jiang clan, telling them to hand over Jiang Zihua. At the same time, the Jiang clan was not to interfere in the matters of Azure Mystic. The Jiang clan naturally rejected, reprimanding Qin Wentian for being too arrogant. Hence, the relationship between both parties was extremely tense and a battle could erupt at any moment. If the Heaven Empyrean Qin Wentian and the Samsara Emperor Hua Taishu killed their way into the Jiang clan, would the three ancient emperors of the Jiang clan be able to withstand them? Today, the three Empyreans of the Jiang clan challenged the Heaven Empyrean Qin Wentian to a battle. The letter of challenge was sent to the Evergreen Kingdom Palace. Qin Wentian accepted it and set off alone, heading to the location of the battle. At the border of the eastern and southern regions, there was a sea region with many islands in it. At this moment, on one of the islands, two experts stood there. Their eyes were closed as faint light revolved around them. Finally, one of them opened his eyes and spoke, "He's here. He's alone, I don't see Hua Taishu. Could he be hiding in the shadows?" The other person spoke. After that, he took out a messaging crystal and sent out a strand of immortal sense. "If that's the case, how can he hide from us?" That person spoke confidently. The two of them nodded and an instant later, Qin Wentian soared through the air and appeared in the airspace above them. "Why are there only two of you here?" Qin Wentian stood in the air, staring at the two experts from the Jiang clan. The person on the left spoke, "Qin Wentian, your actions in Azure Mystic are too brazen. Even if you are the number one expert of Azure Mystic, you won't be able to escape your fate of dying prematurely. The Heavenly Talisman realm has already disintegrated. Where do you guys get your confidence from?" Qin Wentian asked. "The Heavenly Talisman Realm Lord is merely the overlord of a world. How can he be compared to the supreme ancient immortal realms that has an inheritance of countless years? This is only because you still have a chance to show off your might in the lower world. If this is in the supreme ancient immortal realms, my Jiang clan can crush you to death as easily as crushing an ant. Qin Wentian, let me give you one last piece of advice. Don't be an ant trying to shake a tree. There are some people you can't afford to antagonize." The expert from the Jiang clan spoke. "I don't know about the matters in the supreme ancient immortal realms, but in this Azure Mystic, I can still afford to antagonize your Jiang clan." Qin Wentian spoke. A terrifying aura permeated the air. He couldn't be bothered to waste time talking nonsense. Since the Jiang clan challenged him, he could only do so. The eyes of the two Empyreans from the Jiang clan turned golden, gleaming with sharpness. Their bodies were bathed in resplendent golden Buddhic light, as well as a layer of silver armor. Gold and silver intertwined together, exuding a heroic aura. "Immobilize." One of them coldly snorted. This was a secret art of the Buddhist path, the immobilize art. Qin Wentian only felt terrifying streams of Buddhic origin energy transforming into ancient runes that directly imprinted themselves on his body, causing his body to freeze momentarily. He was actually immobilized. The other Empyrean stepped out, directly traversing through space and appeared before Qin Wentian. His arm directly slashed out towards Qin Wentian. His arm seemed to transform into an invincible divine weapon, capable of slicing through space. When it pierced into Qin Wentian, it directly penetrated through Qin Wentian's body, slowly penetrating into Qin Wentian's body. The confidence of the two of them was also based on their combat prowess. Under their joint attack, ordinary Empyreans would surely be caught off guard and killed in a single strike. However, how could Qin Wentian be an ordinary Empyrean? Just as his opponent's arm slashed into Qin Wentian's body, another body appeared, separating from his original body. Two clones of Qin Wentian actually appeared there, akin to a cicada shedding its carapace. In an instant, one of the clones was destroyed. As for Qin Wentian, his countenance was filled with shock. The Empyrean of the Jiang clan was truly extraordinary. Fortunately, he had also cultivated many techniques. In the air, a terrifying spatial storm abruptly manifested as countless spatial gates appeared. The sky above the sea region was incomparably resplendent. That Empyrean of the Jiang clan formed a mudra with both hands. The fixed body technique of Buddhism was akin to the power of the great Tao. Accompanied by the descent of the Buddha's voice, the fixed body technique shot out from the air, landing on the spatial gates one after another, intending to fix them in place. The other Empyrean transformed into a golden ancient Buddha, transforming into a Dharma body. Boundless Buddha's light shot out and his body moved like lightning, using both his hands and feet. Every attack he made was akin to a thunderbolt, causing the spatial gates to collapse one after another. His body directly pursued the silhouette of Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's body kept on evading. The mysterious Jiang clan was proficient in the power of Buddhism. Many an Azure mystic guessed that they were a branch of Buddhism. Back then, Jiang Zihua had even defeated Bujia's teacher. Although their Buddhist techniques were slightly unorthodox, there was no doubt that their combat prowess was extremely powerful. Qin Wentian, you won't be able to escape from my palms. The Empyrean who used the fixed body technique spoke. Similarly, a powerful Dharma body appeared on his body. In that instant, the source energy of heaven and earth seemed to transform into numerous ancient Buddhas, descending from the sky. In fact, within the sea region, there were also incomparably huge Dharma bodies of Buddhism appearing. Terrifying rumbling sounds rang out, the sea region trembled, the mountains and rivers roared, the vast space seemed to be sealed within this Buddhist technique. Qin Wentian dodged and retreated, only to see a thunderous rumbling sound. Incomparably huge Dharma bodies appeared in the void in the sea region, directly severing the space and spitting out the fixed body talismans, wanting to lock Qin Wentian in the void. Such might was too terrifying, enough to shake the heavens. There were people in the various islands in the sea region who were cultivating in seclusion, but they were awakened by the battle. When they saw the innumerable Dharma bodies of Buddhism appearing in the sky and the sea region, all of them felt that it was inconceivable and directly stood there. Such continuous attacks caused even Qin Wentian to feel troubled. When he dodged again, there was actually an extremely powerful palm that blasted towards him. Judging by the direction of the wind, it was as though the palm could predict where he would appear in advance. Clearly, defense was not the top priority. At this moment, Qin Wentian's body turned pitch black. Devil clouds seethed unceasingly as a terrifying devil king appeared, resembling a supreme devil lord. When the fixed body talisman attacked again, Qin Wentian's black eyes gleamed with a fearsome devil light. The boundless devil might cause the heavens and earth to tremble, directly corroding the Buddhic light. Return! With a cold shout, an incomparably gigantic devil lord appeared in the air, standing proudly in the air. The devil lord's head was above the sky, and his feet were on the sea region. As Qin Wentian coldly shouted, the fixed body talisman transformed into a devil talisman, directly turning around and shooting towards the two experts from the Jiang clan. The myriad devil sovereign's inheritance allowed Qin Wentian to ignore the devil attacks of experts on the same level as him after he broke through to the Immortal King realm. He could even reverse the attacks of those on the same level as him. Now, he has already broken through to the Empyrean realm and comprehended the source origins of devil laws. Only then could he truly unleash the power of this inheritance. The myriad devil sovereign's dominion art. Devil dominion is boundless, heaven and earth are lawless, all laws are used by me. The Buddhic Dharma bodies summoned by the two experts from the Jiang clan were also corroded by the devil might. The pitch-black light covered the golden Buddhic light as two completely different types of energy struggled against each other. But in the end, the Buddhic Dharma bodies transformed into devil king bodies. From this, one could see how tyrannical the inheritance of the myriad devil sovereign was. If one cultivated this art to the extreme, it was unknown how terrifying it would be. It was unknown if one could reach the state where if one became a devil, there would be no Buddhas under the heavens. Just when Qin Wentian was fighting against the two experts from the Jiang clan, in the royal palace of the evergreen Immortal Empire, two terrifying auras suddenly gushed forth. In the air, two silhouettes could be seen. One of them was none other than the other Empyrean from the Jiang clan. As for the other Empyrean, no one had seen him before, but his aura was extremely terrifying. He was none other than an Empyrean from the Yin clan from the upper world who came here for revenge. His eyes flashed with a frenzied killing intent. Qin Wentian destroyed the Yin clan. Today, he wanted Qin Wentian to pay the debt of blood with blood, annihilating the Evergreen Kingdom. Chapter 1701. Two supreme auras bore down on the Evergreen Kingdom Palace, causing countless people to be shocked. They inclined their heads and stared at the sky. The expressions of Chongqing the Great and the others drastically changed. After that, they took out their messaging crystals and sent their immortal sense in, sending a message to Qin Wentian. The two supreme experts in the air all had malevolent smiles on their faces when they saw this. Sending a message? Was there enough time? Brother Ing, Qin Wentian has a grudge against you for having his entire clan annihilated. I won't fight with you any longer. Please, let's go. An expert from the Jiang clan spoke. The Yin clan's Empyrean nodded. He was ordered to come to Azure Mystic, but before he even arrived, his entire clan was annihilated. This was simply a great humiliation. After that, he heard that Qin Wentian had slain Empyreans and was the #1 expert under the heavens. Hence, he decided to kill his way here. Back then, he was among the Empyreans of the Evergreen Kingdom, but he didn't reveal his identity. It wasn't until this time when the Jiang clan issued a challenge to Qin Wentian did he come here with another Empyrean from the Jiang clan. Since this is the case, I won't be polite then. The voice of the Yin clan's Empyrean flickered with cold killing intent. His gaze was filled with disdain as he stared at the people below. Please, in the royal palace, beauties are as common as the clouds. Some of them are exceedingly beautiful. Brother Ing, you have to be more lenient when you act. The Empyrean from the Jiang clan laughed loudly. The immortal sense of the Yin clan's Empyrean enveloped the entire royal palace and he naturally saw many beauties. When he heard the words of the Jiang clan's Empyrean, his heart trembled slightly. Such a method of revenge wasn't too bad after all. Numerous thunderous roars rang out as demonic chi engulfed the area. Numerous terrifying demonic dragons appeared, circling the skies. Each of these dragons was at least 10 million meters long, and they hovered in the air, blotting out the sun. In just an instant, the sky turned dark. The area around the Evergreen Kingdom Palace seemed to have turned into an apocalyptic scene. The malevolent faces of the demonic dragons all flickered with a cold killing intent. Rumble the sky trembled as the demonic dragons frenziedly revolved in the air. As long as the Empyrean from the Yin clan gave the command, they would be able to kill their way down. The experts of the Evergreen Kingdom Palace all turned pale. Before this pressure, they only felt that they were extremely tiny and insignificant, as though they were a lone sail in the face of an apocalyptic storm. I've been fooled. GD stood in the crowd. Her expression was extremely unsightly. Qin Wentian wasn't here. Who would be able to deal with an ancient emperor? Although they had an army of immortal emperors guarding this place, they would discover that immortal emperors and ancient emperors weren't on the same level. Their advantage in numbers couldn't be made up for. Master, there's no way he doesn't have a backup plan. Qin Er's white hair fluttered in the wind as she calmly looked at the scene in the void. She trusted Qin Wentian so much. She naturally believed in him. After Qin Wentian returned, he spent all his time with them, bringing them along wherever he went, even if it was to the myriad Devil Islands. Such feelings, others might not be able to understand, but both she and Imo Qingqing understood. Since Qin Wentian told them to stay in the royal palace, it was impossible for him to not be on guard against any sneak attacks. Such intense confidence, there was no other reason, it was because of their feelings. And just as the sound of Qing Er's voice faded, with the Emperor Palace of the Evergreen Immortal Empire as the center, the earth suddenly lit up as resplendent runic light flashed. Tens of thousands of mysterious runes frenziedly circulated around every corner of the evergreen Immortal Empire as a heart-palpitating aura gushed forth. At the center of the imperial palace, an illusory and ancient diagram appeared. Emichem. The Empyrean from the Yin clan and the Empyrean from the Jiang clan had looks of bewilderment on their faces. After that, they couldn't help but exclaim in shock, "Formation." The rebuilt Evergreen Kingdom Palace actually had a supreme grand formation inscribed within. Origin source energy gushed forth from it, extremely powerful. Their immortal senses searched for the origin source of the formation. After that, their gazes landed on an ordinary-looking figure. This figure was clad in black robes and had a mask on. It was unknown when he appeared here, but his aura seemed to have been concealed. But at this moment, his aura was gradually being released. The grand formation seemed to be under his control. Empyrean realm. The countenances of the two of them changed. Also, this wasn't the Samsara Emperor Hua Taishu from the rumors. It was another Empyrean instead. Other than Qin Wentian and Hua Taishu, there was another Empyrean hidden in the Evergreen Kingdom. This caused them to feel a sense of unease. The expert from the Yin clan pointed his finger downwards. Instantly, the sky rumbled as dragon roars filled the air. The roar of the demonic dragon caused the earth to shatter as it shot downwards. Below, the black-robed figure slowly soared up into the air as the terrifying grand formation manifested. Numerous ancient sealing gates appeared, as though they came from the primordial era. When the demonic dragon slammed into the sealing gates, it was directly sucked into them. That incomparably gigantic body of the demonic dragon actually shrank unceasingly before vanishing completely. The entire world had been sealed. If one were to look down from the sky, they would be able to see that the entire sky was actually a gigantic door. Boundless sealing light shot out from within, heading straight for the experts of the Yin clan and the Jiang clan. "I've been waiting for you for a long time." A voice rang out from the mouth of the black-robed expert. Since he knew that there would be Empyreans from the Yin clan coming to Azure Mystic, how could he not be on guard? Just like what Qing'er had thought, there was nothing that could compare to how much he cared for Qing'er and Mo Qingcheng. Now that he has returned to Azure Mystic, he wouldn't allow them to be in danger again. Even if he had no other choice, he would still stand in front of them. The immortal senses of the experts from the Yin clan and Jiang clan swept out in all directions. They also felt that something was wrong. This entire space was actually a sealed space. Numerous sealing gates gushed towards them, gleaming with boundless sealing light. The two of them radiated a terrifying aura, unleashing a supremely powerful force that broke through the sealing gate. However, by borrowing the power of the formation, the sealing gate was limitless and the sealing light was limitless as well. The two of them only felt the amount of heavenly energy they could use growing weaker and weaker as their countenances turned extremely unsightly to behold. The Empyrean from the Jiang clan grabbed out with his hands towards the imperial palace of the Evergreen Immortal Empire, wanting to capture the hostage. However, his attack landed on the sealing gates and he was trapped within. There was no way for him to break through. This. G.D., Chongqing the Great and the others didn't expect Qin Wentian to have a backup plan. Back then when Qin Wentian was searching for skilled craftsmen to rebuild the Evergreen Kingdom Palace, they actually didn't know that there was a formation that was constructed here. Not only that, this formation was extremely powerful. From the looks of it, the two Empyreans were already trapped within, unable to extricate themselves. Most probably, the situation would only get more and more disadvantageous for them as time passed. What's the situation? Qin Wentian is very strong. We are in danger. At this moment, a voice rang out in the mind of the Empyrean from the Jiang clan. This voice belonged to the two people who challenged Qin Wentian. His countenance instantly turned pale. Were the two sides of the battlefield in such a dangerous situation? He dodged unceasingly, taking out his messaging crystal and sending a strand of immortal sense into it. After that, he retracted his state of mind and continued the battle. This was also because the black-robed figure below didn't unleash any oppressive attacks. Only then could he find the time to reply. At this moment, in another battlefield, the entire sea region was in a frenzy. The seawater flowed in reverse as devil might filled the sky, unexcelled in the world. Numerous ancient devil kings appeared, slaughtering everything in their path. Qin Wentian transformed into a devil sovereign. He actually used his devil body to unleash Buddhist arts and techniques, as well as many unfathomable innate techniques. With a thunderous boom, Qin Wentian vanished from his original location. His gigantic body directly appeared in the airspace above an Empyrean from the Jiang clan. With a cracking sound, the Buddha body of the Jiang clan's Empyrean shattered as numerous devil arms grabbed downwards. The Empyrean's hands frenziedly formed seals as his source energy transformed into a myriad of immobilizing talismans. However, the devil might corroded everything as the runic inscriptions were reversed and flew towards the Empyrean. At this instant, the body of the Empyrean from the Jiang clan was completely immobilized. The devil arms of Qin Wentian descended, directly binding him. "What's the result of your voice transmission?" Qin Wentian, who resembled a supreme devil lord, stared at him with incomparably black eyes as he asked. The expression of that Empyrean from the Jiang clan turned extremely ugly to behold. He struggled madly as he asked, "Why are there other Empyreans?" In addition, he was able to hide from the detection of his immortal senses. "Do you know what sealing energy is?" Qin Wentian spoke. Di Tian had sealed all his auras. Naturally, no one would be able to sense it. He had also sealed his own aura, the formation was the same as well. "I will hand Jiang Zihua over to you." The Empyrean from the Jiang clan spoke. "Before this, if you wanted to compromise, would have believed your sincerity. But since the battle has already started, there's no longer a need to set conditions. You can go." Qin Wentian spoke, his eyes gleaming with a terrifying light. A devil's saber slashed out, the other Empyrean couldn't bear to watch. His body directly vanished from the air, as though he was using a greater teleportation technique, wanting to leave. He knew that this battle was extremely miserable. Back then when Qin Wentian killed the Empyrean, he was actually still holding back. Boom! The devilish figure vanished from his location, directly chasing after the Empyrean. A devilish palm imprint blotted out the sky, blocking out the sun. There was simply no way to evade, it directly slammed down towards the Empyrean. With a thunderous boom, that Empyrean was enveloped by the devilish palm imprint and was blasted into the sea region. However, the palm imprint followed after him, causing the seawater in the sea region to churn frenziedly as the waves roared. That Empyrean from the Jiang clan had no way to evade. The spectators from afar felt their legs trembling as they stared fixedly at the battlefield. Was this really Wuxia's battle? An ancient emperor could actually be so powerful to such an extent? Most probably, the entire sea region was about to vanish. After Qin Wentian killed his Empyrean, his eyes gleamed with a terrifying devilish light. It was about time for him to reel in the net. His silhouette flashed, radiating a towering devil might as he soared into the air. Everywhere he passed by, countless experts trembled, wanting to prostrate themselves on the ground and worship him. Was this the might of the Heaven Empyrean Devil Lord? Who in the world could contend against him? He is heading towards the southern regions of the immortal realms, not to the eastern regions. Someone's heart trembled. He is heading to the Jiang clan. At this instant, those who saw Qin Wentian leaving understood that the Jiang clan was finished. Chapter 1702. Di Tian waved his hand as his silhouette flashed, vanishing from this place. His departure caused many people in the Evergreen Kingdom to feel how mysterious he was. As for the experts from the Lifire Palace, they all sighed silently. They didn't expect the Vice Palace Lord to come as well. He should have been summoned by the Lifire Empyrean. The Li-Fire Empyrean truly viewed this place with great importance. Unknowingly, the Li-Fire Empyrean had already set up a supreme grand formation here. After Qin Wentian killed the Empyrean from the Jiang clan, he sped towards the Jiang clan. The majestic ancient palace of the Jiang clan was already empty, only a few minor characters remained. Qin Wentian discovered that the Jiang clan leader, Jiang Zihua, Jiang Ziyu and the others, as well as those powerful immortal emperors, had all vanished without a trace. Clearly, they had long been prepared for this. Back then, if it wasn't for junior brother Qin, we wouldn't have today. We naturally have to attend his wedding. The woman smiled warmly, recalling the scenes from many years ago. At that time, the junior brother of her husband was still a disciple of the immortal Qianbian Gate. Before the Heaven Empyrean left Azure Mystic, most probably, no one would be able to change the outcome of a unification of the immortal realms. I'm naturally happy. The young man named Ouyang laughed loudly, the smile on his face was extremely radiant. Jiang Ting who was beside him held his hand, the two of them exchanged a smile, understanding each other's thoughts. Their good brother not only became the Heaven Empyrean and unified the immortal realms, he even wanted to hold a grand wedding with a princess of the Evergreen Kingdom. How could they not be happy? In a small city in the eastern regions of the immortal realms, there was a simple courtyard. Today, the owner of the courtyard was dressed neatly. His white robes were spotless and there was a smile on his face. Now. The beautiful woman smiled. There were even people who joked that the Heaven Empyrean unified the immortal realms. It couldn't be because he wanted to hold a grand wedding ceremony, right? He conquered the entire empire, all for the sake of winning a smile from a beauty. When this news circulated out, the entire world was shocked. For any sect, the art of cultivation was a secret that could not be passed on. Only the core disciples could inherit and cultivate it. However, Qin Wentian wanted these forces to make a copy of it and send it to the Evergreen Kingdom. This meant that from now on, those forces would no longer be the only ones. As long as the Sky Emperor wanted to, he could replace them at any time. However, news spread that the Celestial Arch had invited all the forces in the world to gather for a banquet. It was not for the sake of the empire, but for the sake of a beauty. Behind her, a figure appeared silently. Seeing her in a daze, he asked, "Xian, what's wrong?" "I want to go to a place," the woman said softly. Therefore, when Qin Wentian returned to the Evergreen Kingdom, his first order was to order everyone in the world to offer a reward for the capture of the main figures of the Jiang clan. Because the Sky Emperor is my best brother. Ouyang Quangsheng laughed uproariously, causing the people around him to be stunned. Ha ha ha, the sounds of laughter were even more exaggerated than Ouyang Quangsheng's. This Ouyang Quangsheng must have gone mad. A beautiful maiden walked out and helped him tidy his robes. She then smiled, "Is it enough for us to rush to the Evergreen Kingdom?" For a period of time, Evergreen Qin became the target of envy and jealousy for all the females in the immortal realms. In another location, on top of a pavilion, a maiden stood there in a daze, staring at the rosy clouds in the sky. This maiden was extremely beautiful, like a fairy. Her white robes fluttered in the wind, it was unknown how beautiful she was. The people of the immortal realms all understood that with the defeat of the Jiang clan, the chaos in the immortal realms had ended. A brand new era had arrived. In addition, the Heaven Empyrean used the momentum of unifying the immortal realms to organize this wedding. From this, one could very well imagine how intense the repercussions would be. Countless experts, regardless of immortal emperors or kings, immortal foundation or celestial phenomenon ascendants, all did their best to rush to the royal palace of the Evergreen Kingdom in the eastern regions. One could foresee that this would be a grand wedding that would shake the entire immortal realms. Naturally, from this point, one could tell that the relationship between the Palace Lord and Vice Palace Lord was very good. It wasn't like what many people guessed, they both had ulterior motives. This caused them to feel a chill in their hearts. Seems like back then when the Li-Fire Empyrean was killed, the eruption of strength of the Li-Fire Empyrean wasn't a coincidence. The two palace lords had long planned this. This was too terrifying. The previous Li-Fire Empyrean was completely played by the two palace lords. Xian'er, don't think too much about the past. No matter what happened in the past, I'm willing to protect you in the future. The person behind her spoke in a gentle voice. The beautiful maiden turned her head and smiled, is that so? Vice Palace Lord. The eyes of many people in the Evergreen Kingdom flashed. These people referred to Qin Wentian as the Li-Fire Empyrean, and this man was actually the Vice Palace Lord. The wedding of the Heaven Empyrean, how great of a commotion would it be? One couldn't help but say that the people of the Immortal Realms were all very intelligent. Very swiftly, this news was verified. The Evergreen Kingdom Palace sent out news that the Heaven Empyrean would be marrying the princess of the Evergreen Kingdom, Evergreen Qin. Back then, junior brother Qin left some things for us. This time around, even if we have to go bankrupt, we have to rush to the Evergreen Kingdom on that day. Lin Shuai smiled, his eyes gleaming with radiance. Junior brother Qin is about to get married. The entire Immortal Realms were discussing this matter. In fact, there were many people who said that this day would be the day the Heaven Empyrean ascended the throne. Nothing much, I just thought of some people and some matters. The beautiful maiden smiled. She was still staring into the distance as a figure appeared in her mind. Although this saying was a little far-fetched, there were still many people who believed it. This was especially so for the maidens. Their envy for Evergreen Qin had reached the extreme. For her, the Heaven Empyrean conquered the entire world. How romantic was this? Qin Wentian, after his return, in an extremely short period of time, he became the sovereign of the myriad Devil Islands, the Heaven Empyrean of the Immortal Realms. Right now, with a single command from him, he could command all the powers in the world. After the two Empyreans from the Jiang clan were killed, on the other side of the battlefield, the battle in the Evergreen Kingdom Palace also ended. Di Tian's sealing arts sealed the Empyreans from the Ying clan as well as the Jiang clan. After that, a sealing gate descended as the two Empyreans completely vanished. This was the price they had to pay for their choice back then. As the losers, they had to bear the consequences of their defeat. Back then, if they chose to submit to Qin Wentian, right now, they would most probably be sitting in the royal capital of the Evergreen Kingdom, enjoying their victory. The beautiful eyes of Qin and Imo Qingqing flashed with a bright light. Chongqing the Great's eyes gleamed with sharpness, as though he was contemplating something. If this was in normal times, this would be a great taboo, a declaration of war. The tripartite balance of power in the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms didn't exist for too long before it was completely destroyed. From now on, there would only be one person in the world, the Heaven Empyrean. Where? The man asked. Ha ha ha. Loud laughter rang out. Ouyang Quansheng and Jiang Ting didn't mind it. The two of them continued laughing, not saying anything. Ouyang, why are you so happy about the wedding of the Heaven Empyrean? Someone beside them asked the man in the couple. The heavenly talisman realm disintegrated, the Empyreans of the Jiang clan were all killed and the core members of the Jiang clan fled. The Jiang clan only existed in name now. Is there a need to go there to join in the fun? This time around, all the major characters in the Immortal Realms are going to gather here. Do you really need to be like this? The person beside him laughed. The Heaven Empyrean was Qin Wentian. He owed the princess of the Evergreen Kingdom, Evergreen Qin, a wedding. In another location in the Immortal Realms, there was also another couple who was currently rushing over, doing their best to rush towards the Evergreen Kingdom. They also had the same thoughts as Lin Shuai, they didn't mind spending all their wealth to borrow the power of the teleportation array, wanting to rush there to congratulate Qin Wentian on his wedding day. The woman smiled, glancing at her husband with a gentle gaze. After learning that her junior apprentice brother had become the Heaven Empyrean, her husband wasn't willing to go there to bask in the limelight. He still wanted to rely on himself and walk his own path. However, after hearing that the Heaven Empyrean was going to get married, her husband immediately changed his mind. He was such a person, strong, yet filled with emotions. Even if it was such an order, how could they not obey? The Heaven Empyrean issued an order for all the major powers to send their cultivation arts to the royal capital of the Evergreen Kingdom on the same day. Similarly, on this day, the Heaven Empyrean also gave the order for a grand banquet to be held. He would redistribute the various powers in the world today. Everyone understood that this was to divide the territories, allowing the major powers under his control to truly control the entire world. What a cunning fellow! Qin Wentian silently mused. His immortal sense enveloped the city the Jiang clan was in, but he still couldn't find the silhouettes of Jiang Zihua and his brother. Since they wanted to hide, most probably, they have already fled to a faraway place. Right now, the Heaven Empyrean unified the world. Many people guessed that he wanted to compensate Evergreen Qing by holding a grand wedding that would shake the entire Azure Mystic. But now, even if Qin Wentian declared war, would those major powers dare to accept it? The Evergreen Kingdom. The young woman spoke. Over 100 years ago, the Heaven Empyrean was hated by all the major powers in the Immortal realms. They surrounded the Evergreen Kingdom, and even though the Heaven Empyrean knew that he would die for sure, he still chose to enter the Evergreen Kingdom Palace because he didn't want to implicate his beloved. On that day, the Heaven Empyrean proposed to the princess of the Evergreen Kingdom, who was later known as the white-haired killing goddess, Evergreen Qing. The Heaven Empyrean was his best brother. The news soon circulated. After the Heaven Empyrean and the Samsara Immortal Emperor joined forces to destroy the Heavenly Talisman realm, the Heaven Empyrean domineeringly went to the Jiang clan to challenge him and killed him. At the same time, there was also an ancient emperor from the Jiang clan as well as an Empyrean from the Ying clan who ambushed the Evergreen Kingdom Palace. However, they were all killed by a mysterious Empyrean who borrowed the power of a formation. Right now, the Evergreen Kingdom had an extremely terrifying grand formation. This undoubtedly caused many people to feel threatened. Stepping out, Qin Wentian directly departed. He didn't start a massacre here. It was meaningless to kill weaklings, but the core characters of the Jiang clan had to die. When he shouldn't be merciful, he mustn't be merciful. Jiang Zihua was such a sinister character and his talent was extremely high. If he left him alive, he would only be a scourge. Qin Wentian might not be afraid, but he didn't want the people around him to be harmed because of him. The eyes of the young man flashed with a bright light. After that, he smiled. The wedding of the Heaven Empyrean, Evergreen Qing, is envied by all the females in the world. Xian, you also wish to go and watch. Since this is the case, when should we set off? The power of the formation gradually calmed down. The experts from the Evergreen Kingdom Palace all stared at Di Tian in astonishment. At this moment, the supreme ancient army brought by Qin Wentian flashed as they bowed to Di Tian. We pay our respects to Vice Palace Lord. Naturally. The other party nodded. Chapter 1703. With the unification of Azure Mystic and the grand wedding of the Heaven Empyrean, the entire Immortal realms shook. The gazes of everyone in Azure Mystic were all focused on the royal capital of the Evergreen Kingdom. Right now, this royal capital had a new name. This was the intention of Chongqing the Great. Right now, not only were there experts from the Evergreen Kingdom, there were also experts from the Namhuang clan, the Myriad Devil Islands, Hokage Sengoku Kingdom and many others. If they continued to use the name of the royal capital of the Evergreen Kingdom, it wouldn't be too appropriate. It would make the other powers feel like they were relying on the charity of the Evergreen Kingdom. In addition, he was Qin Wentian's father-in-law. It was even more important for him to avoid arousing suspicions. Hence, the Evergreen Immortal Emperor took the initiative to suggest changing the name of the city. Many people didn't object. Right now, Qin Wentian already had the title of the Heaven Empyrean and became the number one character in Azure Mystic, the number one emperor throughout the ages. Since he decided to stay in this city, he also allowed the major powers to relocate here. This city became the center of Azure Mystic and was the center of attention. Hence, Qin Wentian also agreed. At the entrance of the royal capital of the Evergreen Kingdom, a new name was hung up. Heaven Empyrean City. Heaven Empyrean City was expanded, its territory extended out in all directions, all of them were absorbed into Heaven Empyrean City. Countless experts from the immortal realms rushed over to Heaven Empyrean City, all of them were here for the grand wedding of the Heaven Empyrean. They didn't dare to imagine how grand the wedding of the Heaven Empyrean would be. As for the wedding, there were naturally people helping Qin Wentian to prepare. Nanfeng Yaoyue, GD, and the experts from the Lifire Palace were all busy. If this was in the past, it would be hard to imagine that they would help others to prepare for their wedding. In the past, such matters were nothing but mundane matters to them. But this time around, it was different. This was the wedding of Qin Wentian and Qin Er. During this period of time, Di Tian went to open the seal on the particle world. Back then, he had no other choice but to seal the particle world. Now that Eastern Sage has died, how could he not invite his foster father to attend the wedding? In addition, regardless of Qin Wentian or Mo Qingqing, it has been several hundred years since they last saw their family. They naturally missed them very much. In the Chu country of Grand Xia, the Qin clan was now the number one power in Chu. Back then when Qin Wentian left the sealed particle world, Di Tian sealed the cultivation bases of all the invaders, making them stay behind to guide the people of the world. He also left behind many treasures in the Qin clan. In addition to the fact that Qin Wentian was the number one expert under the heavens, one could very well imagine the development of the Qin clan. Even after so many years, the Qin clan had already undergone a complete transformation, becoming a first-rate power in the particle world. Naturally, the person in charge of the Qin clan now was no longer Qin Chuan. He had long retired and left the Qin clan to Qin He to manage. At this moment, Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing silhouettes landed outside the Qin residence. Qing'er didn't come. This time around, Qing'er was the bride and she had to make some preparations. And since he made a trip to the particle world, other than to fetch his family members, he naturally had to fetch Qingqing's family members as well. As for whether they would choose to stay in the particle world or follow him, Qin Wentian wouldn't force them. He would let them make the choice themselves. Everyone had their own life to live. He wouldn't force his way of thinking onto others. Staring at the majestic residence before him, a radiant smile appeared on Qin Wentian's face. He thought that after he sealed the particle world back then, he wouldn't be able to return for a very long time. He didn't expect that he would be able to return home so soon. No matter where he went, no matter how far he walked, this place would forever be the home he grew up in. The guards of the Qin residence stared at the two of them. Their auras were too outstanding. Although Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing retracted their auras, they were still breathtaking. Maybe they didn't have much of a feeling towards Qin Wentian's aura, but for a supreme beauty like Mo Qingqing, no matter who it was, they couldn't help but to steal a few more glances at her. How beautiful, even the number one beauty in Chu would feel inferior in front of her. The guards of the Qin residence silently mused. At this moment, a group of silhouettes walked out from the Qin residence. The person in the lead had an imposing appearance and was extraordinarily handsome. He was clad in luxurious robes and had a cultivation base at the Heavenly Dipper realm. There were many people following behind him, all of them were his guards. This was a descendant of the Qin clan, Qin Yang. The instant Qin Yang saw Mo Qingqing, he found it hard to shift his gaze away. She was too beautiful. As a disciple of the Qin clan, he had outstanding talent and a high status in Chu. He had even wooed the number one beauty in Chu before. But compared to the number one beauty in Chu, the number one beauty in Chu was simply too tacky. "My name is Qin Yang," may I know the name of Miss? Qin Yang smiled. As for Qin Wentian, he was completely disregarded by Qin Yang. Qin Wentian laughed. Given Mo Qingqing's current beauty and demeanor, ordinary people would find it hard to resist her. He smiled as he held Mo Qingqing's hand, staring at Qin Yang. Being able to reach the Heavenly Dipper realm at such a young age, he was indeed a good seedling. Qin Yang's eyes narrowed when he saw Qin Wentian's actions. I wonder what instructions does Miss have for coming to my Qin residence. We are here to pay our respects to Old Master Qin of Qin Creek. Qin Wentian smiled. Impudent. Qin Yang coldly snorted, glaring at Qin Wentian as he icily stated, the name of the old master isn't something you can call out. Men, take him down. As the sound of his voice faded, several people rushed forward and surrounded Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian froze, his earlier good mood was instantly destroyed. He stared at Qin Yang as he asked, who is Qin he to you? Take him down. Qin Yang waved his hands as he spoke. His gaze shifted to Mo Qingqing as he smiled, Miss, if there's anything you need, I can be of service. Mo Qingqing's countenance turned cold as she stared at Qin Yang. Back then, the Qin clan was a clan of iron-blooded men. Now, they had actually nurtured a silk pants. A surge of might gushed forth from Qin Wentian. Instantly, those surrounding him stiffened. Qin Yang's countenance changed, he stared at Qin Wentian only to see Qin Wentian walking forward as he asked again, who is Qin he to you? You dare to be so impudent in my Qin residence? Qin Yang could sense that Qin Wentian's aura was much stronger compared to his. Qin Wentian didn't waste words with him. His immortal sense instantly enveloped the entire Qin residence. In the depths of the Qin residence, Qin Chuan was currently lying in his courtyard, basking in the sun. Qin Yao was beside him, chatting with him. This lass, there are so many outstanding males in Grand Xia wooing you, yet you refuse to marry them. How long do you want me, this old man, to wait? Qin Chuan's eyes flickered with a doting light as he shook his head and smiled bitterly. Father, isn't it good for your daughter to always accompany you? Qin Yao spoke in a sweet voice. Humph, it's all that brat Wentian's fault. That fellow's talent is obvious for all to see. Are you looking down on all males? Qin Chuan pretended to be angry. It's all that brat's fault. The next time we see him, should we give him a good beating? Qin Yao smiled. Yes, we must give him a good beating. Qin Chuan smiled as he nodded. His eyes were filled with longing as he mumbled, I wonder how that fellow is doing now. Father, sister, I'm here to be beaten up. A voice suddenly drifted over. Qin Chuan and Qin Yao's bodies trembled violently as their hearts pounded. Qin Chuan abruptly stood up as he called out, Wentian. Father, your son is unfilial. It has been so many years since I came back to see you. As the sound of the voice faded, two silhouettes appeared in front of Qin Chuan. Upon seeing these two, Qin Chuan and Qin Yao's bodies trembled even more violently. Qin Chuan laughed uproariously as his eyes reddened. His body trembled as he walked forward, placing his hands on Qin Wentian's shoulders. Good, it's good that you're back. Qin Wentian's heart trembled as he said, Good, it's good that you're back, father. Qin Wentian hugged Qin Chuan, as Qin Chuan patted his back harshly. After the separation of father and son, Qin Wentian glanced at Qin Yao. Qin Yao's eyes were already red as tears flowed down her cheeks. She was currently wiping them away with her hands. Qin Wentian called out, Sister. Qin Yao nodded her head heavily, involuntarily recalling the events of her youth. Back then, she would always bully Qin Wentian, forcing him to carry her on his back. Who would have thought that in the blink of an eye, a few hundred years had passed? Qin Wentian walked to Qin Yao's side and gave her a tight hug. The tears in Qin Yao's eyes could no longer be restrained as they flowed unceasingly. Father. Qingqing bowed to Qin Chuan. Qingqing, good, very good. Qin Chuan nodded his head forcefully, only to see numerous silhouettes rushing over. Qin He, Qin Yi, as well as the second generation Qin Shang and Qin Ji, as well as their descendants. Very swiftly, the courtyard was filled with people, and the sounds of whispers could be heard unceasingly. Everyone stared at the two silhouettes standing in the middle of the courtyard, and they already knew who they were. Qin Wentian, the people of the Qin clan, had returned. Uncle. A voice drifted over. Qin Wentian turned his gaze over only to see a beautiful lady running to his side. She had a bashful expression on her face as she tilted her head up and stared at him. You are Xian. Qin Wentian smiled. Qin Xian nodded her head vigorously. Huh, little lass, you've already grown up. Qin Wentian hugged Qin Xian. Back then when he left this particle world, Qin Shang's daughter was only 8 years old. Now, she was already a slender and elegant woman with a cultivation base at the peak of Heavenly Dipper. Qin Xian's face flushed red, but she still felt warmth in her heart. Back then, although she was only 8 years old, she would never be able to forget her uncle's glory. Wentian. Qin He walked out and called out. Right now, he already exuded an imposing aura. Second uncle. Qin Wentian smiled as he greeted. Qin Yang, scram out here and kneel. Qin He coldly snorted. Qin Yang immediately walked out from the crowd, trembling with fear. He was so scared that his legs had gone soft. He was actually Qin Wentian, the legendary character of the entire world, the faith of the Qin clan, the god of Chu. Qin Yang is muddle-headed. Qin Yang knelt on the ground. It's fine if we spoil you normally, but you actually don't know what's good for you. You are getting more and more insolent. If it wasn't for the fact that the person we met today wasn't your uncle, wouldn't the Qin clan be in trouble? Drag him out and break one of his legs. Qin He icily spoke. What's going on? Qin Chuan asked. Qin He told Qin Chuan about what happened earlier, causing Qin Chuan's countenance to turn cold. Break both his legs. Qin Chuan icily spoke. Who was Qingqing? She was Wentian's wife. This unfilial descendant actually dared to offend her. Father, second uncle, forget it. Qin Wentian bitterly smiled. It was rare for him to return home, he didn't want to cause any unhappiness. Wentian, it's already a shameful matter for the Qin clan to produce a silk pants. Now that he even offended you, how can we forgive him? Drag him out and break both his legs. Qin He coldly waved his hands. Qin Wentian didn't try to stop him. He could heal broken legs, but if the descendants of the Qin clan were all like this, it wouldn't be a good thing. He decided to teach the descendants of the Qin clan a lesson. Chapter 1704. Qin Yang was brought away. His father was the son of Qin Shang, Qin Qi. His mother was also a member of a major clan in Chu. When they heard that their son's leg was about to be broken, both of their countenances turned extremely unsightly. But since Qin Chuan and Qin He had already spoken, they knew that it was useless even if they begged for mercy. Hence, their gazes towards Qin Wentian involuntarily turned somewhat cold. Qin Wentian naturally felt it as well. Right now, the Qin clan had expanded by many times compared to the past, becoming a true aristocratic clan. However, it was no longer the same as before. It was inevitable for a great clan to produce silk pants. This could be considered as a lesson for the younger generations. Naturally, other than Qin Yang's parents, many others were still staring at Qin Wentian with fanaticism in their eyes. This was especially so for those of the older generations. Qin Wentian had left for 200 years. The younger generations had only heard of his story, but they had never truly experienced that era. They didn't understand what sort of transcendent status Qin Wentian had. But for those of the older generations, they all knew what sort of legend Qin Wentian was. All of you can leave now. What's with all of you crowding around here? Qin Chuan waved his hands, not wanting to disturb the reunion between him and Qin Wentian. The gazes of everyone were still fixed on Qin Wentian. The fanaticism in their eyes was filled with reluctance, as though they wanted to take a few more glances at him. Some of the youths wanted to step forward, yet they didn't dare to. They could only follow their elders and leave, leaving only a few important people behind. The courtyard quieted down again, but the entire Qin clan was in a commotion. The legendary character of the Qin clan, Qin Wentian, had returned. The people of the Qin clan had long since memorized many of his legends. Today, they personally saw him in person. However, that damnable bastard Qin Yang actually dared to offend the legendary character of the Qin clan. What a bastard! No wonder the clan lord and old man were so angry. Father, it's only right for me to see my family. Qin Wentian stared at Qin Chuan as he spoke. Now that there are so many people in the clan, you wouldn't like it to be so noisy. In addition, Qingqing is here as well. Qin Chuan waved his hands. Qingqing, that bastard Qin Yang offended you. It was my fault for not disciplining him properly. Father, it's nothing. Mo Qingqing shook her head. It wasn't a big deal, it was just a small offense. However, she also understood that Qin Wentian and Qin Chuan both wanted to curb this silk pants attitude of theirs. Hence, she didn't say anything earlier, she just wanted to let that young man suffer a little. As for his injuries, they could naturally be healed. Father, there's no need to be so polite with Qingqing. Qin Wentian held Qingqing's hand as he smiled at Qin Chuan. Yes, you've been married for so many years, why should I be polite? Qin Chuan laughed. Oh yeah, did Qingqing return to the Mo residence? Your grandpa and parents would often come to chat with me. They miss you very much. Back then when Qin Wentian fought against the Dongxing Heaven Emperor, he sent his family and friends back to his particle world. After that, he sent people to fetch them back. At that time, the people of Qin Chuan and the Mo clan all chose to stay behind and didn't return to the immortal realms. This place was their route. Not yet, I'll pay my respects to father first before heading to the Mo residence. Mo Qingqing smiled. This old man of mine is doing very well. Wentian, bring Qingqing to the Mo residence to see her parents. Qin Chuan waved his hands. Qin Wentian knew that Qin Chuan was doing this for him and Qingqing. He felt warmth in his heart as he spoke. Father, how can I chase them away the moment I returned? Since I'm already here, why would I be in such a rush? What are you saying? You know that you are here to visit me. Could it be that Qingqing doesn't want to see her family? Qin Chuan glared at Qin Wentian and waved his hands. Go. Okay, I'll go now. Qin Wentian bitterly smiled as he shook his head. Father, this time around, I'm here to bring you to the immortal realms. Qin and I are going to be married soon. Married soon? Qin Chuan started. After that, a smile appeared on his face as he nodded heavily. Right, foster father will definitely go. Father, uncle, I'll head over first. I'll be back soon. Qin Wentian smiled. As he spoke, a spatial gate appeared. Qin Wentian pulled Mo Qingqing's hand and stepped into it, directly disappearing from sight. He didn't reject Qin Chuan's good intentions. After all, to him, the distance between the Qin residence and the Mo residence was just a matter of a single thought. He could come back and forth any time he wanted, there was no need for him to be polite. Qin Chuan and Qin Yao saw Qin Wentian directly stepping into the spatial gate. They stared at the disappearing spatial gate and were speechless for a very long time. That brat, how strong is he now exactly? Qin Chuan's voice trembled as he asked Qin Yao. Qin Yao's eyes were still red. Although she was smiling, there were tears in her eyes. She choked with sobs as she replied, "Father, why are you asking me? How would I know? I'm afraid it's already a realm that we can no longer know." Although the Mo clan wasn't as glorious as the Qin residence, it was still extremely prosperous now. With the relationship between Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing, in addition to the fact that Mo Qingqing's family chose to stay in this particle world, Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing had left behind many good things for them. They even helped Mo Feng and Mo Yu to change their physiques. Right now, Mo Feng was already the clan leader of the Mo clan. Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing directly arrived outside the Mo residence. He held Mo Qingqing's hand as they walked towards the Mo clan. At this moment, Mo Feng was currently gathering the experts of the Mo clan, preparing to head out to handle some matters. Just as they exited the Mo residence, they saw Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing walking over. Mo Feng was instantly stunned. The other members of the Mo clan stared dumbfoundedly at Mo Qingqing, silently musing at how beautiful this maiden was. In the next instant, a look of wild joy appeared on Mo Feng's face. He kept the divine weapon in his hand and instantly sped towards Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing. When he saw Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing smiling at him, Mo Feng's eyes turned slightly red as he called out, "Brother-in-law, sis Qingqing. Good brat, you are already so powerful." Qin Wentian laughed. Right now, Mo Feng's cultivation base was already at the celestial phenomenon realm. Mo Feng smiled as he scratched his head. He knew that this little bit of cultivation base was simply insufficient in front of his brother-in-law. "Brother-in-law, if you are willing to teach me cultivation, I would definitely not be at my current level." Mo Feng laughed. Mo Qingqing rolled her eyes, "You are truly intelligent. How would your brother-in-law have the time to teach you?" "Arg!" A shrill scream rang out. A beautiful maiden dashed towards Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing. Her face was bright red, it was none other than Mo Yu. "Little lass Mo Yu, what are you screaming for?" Qin Wentian laughed as he stared at Mo Yu whose face was burning red. "Mo Feng, am I dreaming?" Mo Yu rubbed her eyes as she asked. "Ha!" Qin Wentian laughed as he ruffled Mo Yu's hair. These two little fellows weren't young anymore, and their cultivation bases were extraordinary as well. Yet, they were still acting like children in front of him. Little did he know that at this moment, the members of the Mo clan were completely dumbfounded. The clan lord and cold-faced goddess who were usually incomparably imposing were actually acting like children. Who were these two people exactly? Brother-in-law? Elder sister? Their hearts pounded violently as they thought of a legendary character in the Mo clan. She was once the #1 beauty in Chu, and after that, she joined the Pill Emperor Hall and eventually married Qin Wentian. She was the legend of their Mo clan. And now, this couple had returned. Upon thinking of this, the faces of the younger generations of the Mo clan all turned red as they stared at Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing. "Brother-in-law, you are really back." Mo Yu's beautiful face was flushed red from excitement. "Emichim, we are back." Qin Wentian nodded. "Mo Feng, what are you guys doing?" Mo Qingqing asked. The smile on Mo Feng's face stiffened. After which, he spoke, "Elder sister, let's not talk about this first. Let's return home first. Little brats, all of you get out of my way." Mo Feng turned and grinned. The crowd parted to form a path as an extremely young and beautiful maiden walked over and called out, "Aunt, uncle." Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing both glanced at Mo Feng only to hear Mo Feng saying, "This is my daughter, Shiyao. I've already become an aunt." Mo Qingqing smiled at Qin Wentian. Her gaze towards Shiyao was filled with doting love as she asked, "Shiyao, what gift do you want?" "Aunt, there's no need." Mo Shiyao shook her head. "Silly lass." Mo Qingqing smiled. A wisp of holy light from Qin Wentian landed on Shuyao. The resplendent light of life caused Mo Shuyao to feel extremely comfortable. Her eyes flashed with a strange light as she timidly glanced at Qin Wentian before lowering her head. In the Mo residence, upon learning that Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing had returned, everyone in the residence came out to welcome them. Mo Qingqing's grandfather and parents were all extremely happy. Qin Wentian stood there, a warm smile on his face as he stared at Mo Qingqing and her parents hugging each other. Wentian. Old man Mo glanced in the direction of Qin Wentian. Is old man doing well? Qin Wentian smiled as he asked. The grudges between them in the past had already vanished like smoke in thin air. Emichim, I'm doing well. It's just that I haven't seen you guys for many years and would often think of you. I would also frequently visit your foster father's place. Old man Mo smiled. Foster father also told me that if old man feels bored, you can move to the immortal realms in the future. The immortal realms would definitely be much more interesting compared to the particle world. I'm just afraid that my old bones wouldn't be able to withstand the torment. Old man Mo laughed uproariously. Men, quickly prepare a banquet. Mo Feng, send someone to the Qin residence to fetch old man Qin and the others over. Today, they will be having a banquet at my Mo residence. Right. Mo Feng nodded. Mo Feng, wait a minute. Qin Wentian called out. He walked to Mo Shiyao's side and asked, Shiyao, what's going on with your injuries? Earlier, the life energy radiating from him was healing Mo Shiyao's injuries. Given his cultivation base, how could he not be able to tell that Mo Shiyao was injured? Brother-in-law. Mo Feng found it hard to speak. You speak. Qin Wentian stared at Mo. In this world, there's actually someone who dares to touch the people of my Mo residence. The experts of the Mo clan felt their hearts trembling when they heard Qin Wentian's words. How tyrannical, as expected of a legendary character. Brother-in-law, back then in the battle in your particle world, you sealed many immortals and allowed them to come to Chu to educate the people of the world. As long as one of their disciples joined their sect, they couldn't reject and had to guide them. Because of this, our Chu country produced some extremely powerful characters. But now, a disciple of an immortal. That bastard actually. Mou's countenance turned red from anger. He played with Shiyao's feelings. Mou coldly spoke. Enough, Wentian isn't an outsider. Just speak frankly. That bastard intentionally tried to woo Shiyao and Shiyao agreed to be in a relationship with him. That bastard wanted to take things a step further but Shiyao didn't agree. Old man Mo coldly spoke. Hence, that bastard actually found a few women to do that kind of thing and even intentionally let Shiyao see it. He insulted Shiyao for wanting to give him face but Shiyao rebuked him and was injured by him. Mou's countenance was extremely ugly to behold. Brother-in-law, I want to kill that bastard. Mo Feng icily spoke. Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing finally understood why Mo Feng brought his men out earlier. Since he is the disciple of that immortal who stayed behind, could it be that he doesn't know what relationship I have with Qingqing? Why would he dare to do such a thing? Qin Wentian's tone also turned cold. Mou spoke, that's right, Mou. Mo Feng interrupted her. Mou glared at him, don't stop me. Brother-in-law, there's a high possibility that this immortal has a grudge against you and instigated his disciple to do this. He wants revenge and if it wasn't for the fact that his cultivation base was sealed, he would have already acted personally. Chapter 1705. Qin Wentian's expression turned completely cold. Back then during the battle between the Dongshengshan Gate and the Immortal Qinbian Gate, the Dongxing Heaven Emperor was defeated and sent people to ambush him in his particle world, wanting to use this method to lure him over. He used Di Tian's body to descend into the particle world and killed the blazing fiend Immortal King, sealing an immortal king and a group of immortals, allowing them to stay in Chu to guide the people of Chu in cultivation. Who would have thought that even now, there would still be trouble left behind? There were immortals who wanted to use the disciples they nurtured to deal with his kin. Seems like after being sealed for hundreds of years, they couldn't endure it any longer and were filled with resentment. Mo Qingqing walked to Shiyao's side and lightly hugged her. "Shiyao, did he hurt you?" "No, aunt, I was only humiliated a little and suffered some minor injuries." Mo Shiyao's eyes were red as she shook her head. "Unforgivable." Qin Wentian coldly spoke. "Brother-in-law, I've lost face for you." Mo Feng lowered his head as he spoke. Qin Wentian waved his hands. His immortal sense gushed out, instantly enveloping the entire Chu country. All the immortals who were sealed were found by him and appeared in his mind. Also, the things they were doing now were all displayed in his mind. Among them, in front of a palace, there were many people gathered there. There was an immortal king who was sealed, and there were also many other immortals gathered here. Other than them, there were also some juniors at the Celestial Phenomenon Realm and Heavenly Dipper Realm. In a particle world, this could be considered an extremely powerful force. "Master, the Mo clan should be preparing to deal with us. We have waited for so long, we will definitely make sure that they won't be able to return alive." A peak-level ascendant spoke. His master was none other than the sealed immortal king. With the guidance of an immortal king, it was no wonder that he could reach such a high cultivation realm. That immortal king closed his eyes, but a cold expression could be seen on his face. "I'm still a little worried. It's said that that fellow once controlled the strongest power in this particle world. Although the Medicine Sovereign Valley is in seclusion, they once belonged to him. Would he still have some trump cards hidden in this particle world?" An immortal spoke. "What's there to be afraid of? The powerful ones have all been brought away. Also, he has offended many major characters of the immortal realms and hasn't returned for several hundred years. Don't you guys understand?" Someone spoke. "You mean, he's already dead?" It's very normal for experts in the immortal realms to die. This is especially so for those who have shown off their brilliance. They didn't return home for a few hundred years, there's an 80% chance that they have already died. We have always endured and didn't touch the Mo clan, initially wanting to slowly torture them, starting from the descendants of the Mo clan. But this time around, since all pretense of cordiality has already been shredded, we might as well be more direct. An immortal coldly spoke. "That's right. Master, please bestow Mo Shiyao to me. This woman actually dared to reject my request. I'm definitely going to have some fun." A young man at the high-level Celestial Phenomenon Realm looked rather handsome, but at this moment, his expression was somewhat sinister. "Fine. Since Mo Shiyao's master has no objections, how can master not agree?" That immortal king opened his eyes and smiled at an Immortal Foundation expert. This man was none other than Mo Shiyao's master. Mo Shiyao had chosen to take him as her master. Not only for Mo Shiyao, many people in Chu had chosen to take these immortal kings as their masters as well. There were also quite a few from the Mo clan. Many thanks for master's help. Sadly, that Qin Wentian wouldn't be able to see this scene. If not, even if he died, he would definitely regret his actions back then. Ling Ting laughed. When he thought of Mo Shiyao's beauty, a fire burned in his heart. What a shameless woman. That immortal king and the other immortals all had cold expressions on their faces. Someone spoke, "Not only do we want to make him regret. After the Mo clan, it's the Qin clan. I want Qin Wentian to live a life worse than death even if he didn't die." "Is that so?" A voice suddenly drifted over. As the sound of this voice faded, the wind and clouds howled in the air. The countenances of the immortals all stiffened. Ling Ting coldly spoke, "Who is it?" A terrifying whistling sound rang out in the air. After that, rumbling sounds rang out as the palace was directly torn into pieces. The countenances of the group of them were filled with shock. They only saw an extremely terrifying spatial energy tearing everything apart. After that, the space in the surroundings became chaotic, unceasingly fluctuating. Behind them, a terrifying spatial vortex appeared. After that, something seemed to have opened up as a spatial passageway appeared between the heavens and earth. At the other end of the spatial passageway, they saw a group of people standing there. That place seemed to be the Mo clan. The person in the lead had his hands clasped behind his back. His cold gaze seemed to be able to penetrate through space, landing on them. When they saw clearly who this person was, their countenances instantly turned pale. All of them were so frightened that their bodies trembled. An uncontrollable terror rose up in their hearts. Qin Wentian has returned. In addition, he became even stronger than before, directly opening a spatial gate, disregarding distance. What cultivation realm was this? That immortal king had a look of shock on his face, as though his heart was struck by lightning. Even immortal emperors wouldn't be able to achieve such a feat. He instantly felt boundless regret. Since Qin Wentian has already reached such a level and returned here, he should be prepared to spare them. But now, when he thought of this, the other immortals naturally thought of it as well. Their countenances turned as pale as paper. At this moment, how could the people of the Mo clan not be incomparably shocked? Qin Wentian actually waved his hand and directly opened a spatial gate, disregarding distance, allowing them to see the situation over there. That Ling Teng was none other than the person who humiliated Mo Shiyao. Shiyao, is it him? Numerous strands of spatial energy transformed into spatial threads, directly binding Ling Teng. In an instant, Ling Teng's body was covered by millions of spatial threads, causing him to be unable to move. Mo Shiyao nodded her head with reddened eyes. Shiyao, this ant-like person isn't worthy of you at all. There's no need to feel pity for his death. As long as you are willing, you can always find someone better. In the future, you will definitely become an immortal. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. Right now, he had such confidence. Immortals might be lofty existences in particle worlds, but to him who has already transcended the immortal emperor realm, as long as he was willing, it wouldn't be too difficult to nurture an immortal. A casual sentence from him caused the hearts of everyone to tremble violently. The people of the Mo clan stared at him with boundless reverence in their eyes. Was this the legendary son-in-law of the Mo clan? An immortal was nothing in his eyes. As long as Shiyao was willing, he would be able to help Shiyao become an immortal. Uncle. Mo Shiyao's tears flowed. She leaned into Mo Qingqing's embrace. Mo Qingqing patted her on the shoulder, silly lass. Shiyao, I was wrong. Please spare me, I really like you. Ling Ting begged. At this moment, he was incomparably regretful. He had chased after Mo Shiyao, and Mo Shiyao had such an uncle-in-law. Yet, he had actually gone against the Mo clan for his sealed master. Was he crazy? If he was really together with Mo Shiyao, what accomplishments would he have in the future? Shameless. Qin Wentian casually waved his hand. In an instant, Ling Ting's body vanished from sight. Everyone only saw a beam of light before Ling Ting completely vanished into nothingness. This time around, I initially wanted to pardon all of you and undo the seal. However, all of you are courting death. Qin Wentian coldly spoke. Earlier when he heard the words of these people, he felt a chill in his heart. If he came a little later, there might be some unimaginable consequences. If that was the case, he wouldn't even have the time to feel regret. The expressions of everyone drastically changed, turning as pale as paper. After that, they only saw Qin Wentian lifting his hand as a terrifying palm imprint manifested, slamming down towards them. Inclining their heads and staring at the palm imprint, looks of despair and regret could be seen on everyone's faces. Boom! With a thunderous boom, that area was raised to flat ground. The spatial tunnel closed and everything returned to normal. Qin Wentian was still standing there, but the gazes of those from the Mo clan changed again when they looked at him. Was this what a legend was? A true legend. Back then when these people came to our particle world to wreak havoc, I sealed them and forced them to guide the people of Chu in cultivation. However, I still underestimated the hatred of humans. Seems like I have to give them a good warning. Qin Wentian spoke. A terrifying wave of immortal sense gushed forth, instantly extending beyond Chu, to Grand Xia, and eventually to the entire particle world. This immortal sense wasn't concealed at all, it was like heavenly might. At this moment, countless people felt their hearts trembling as they inclined their heads and stared at the void. After that, they only saw the wind and clouds changing as a supreme figure appeared in the air. In an instant, everyone in the world saw a handsome white-robed figure that resembled a true divinity, standing there in the air. In Grand Xia, countless people inclined their heads, and when they saw Qin Wentian, many people called out, "Monarch." In the territory of the royal sacred sect, countless people inclined their heads as their hearts pounded violently. That was none other than Qin Wentian. Many people who had seen Qin Wentian before, as well as some of Qin Wentian's acquaintances, felt intense waves of shock in their hearts when they saw him. He has returned and he was like a heavenly divinity, standing tall in the air, allowing the entire world to see him. "I am Qin Wentian." A voice rang out from Qin Wentian's mouth. Back then, immortals from the immortal realms wreaked havoc in our particle world and I sealed them here. Initially, I wanted to undo the seal, but when I returned, I discovered that a bunch of immortals were actually plotting against my family members. Their crimes are unforgivable and I've already killed them all. I've decided that the immortals who were sealed here will continue to stay in our particle world to guide the people of our particle world in cultivation. The next time I return, I will undo the seal. You guys don't have to depend on the Dongxing Heaven Emperor, he has already been killed by me. Other than this, if there's anyone else who dares to cause havoc in our particle world after breaking through to the immortal realm, I will definitely kill them. His voice rumbled through the world, causing the hearts of countless people to tremble. There were even some who prostrated themselves on the ground to pay their respects. Was this the legend of this particle world, the number one genius under the heavens, Qin Wentian? He had returned and was even stronger than before. Back then, the Dongxing Heaven Emperor who came to this particle world to recruit a disciple, how imposing was he? His immortal palace descended from the heavens, causing the entire world to prostrate before him. Yet such a character was actually killed by Qin Wentian. In the Qin residence, Qin Yang who had both his legs broken initially felt an intense hatred for Qin Wentian. But now when he saw the figure in the air, he was completely dumbfounded. After that, he only felt incomparable shame. This uncle of his, how glorious was he? A single word from him was the law, no one in the world dared to defy him. Yet, he actually did such a disgraceful thing and his uncle still pleaded for him. If he wasn't someone from the Qin clan, given Qin Wentian's status, even 100 deaths wouldn't be enough for him. Qin Yang's parents originally had some thoughts about Qin Wentian. But at this moment, they were speechless in their hearts. Father, mother, will uncle hate me in the future? Will he not bring me along to cultivate? Qin Yang felt incomparable regret. If he followed his uncle in cultivation, what accomplishments would he have in the future? Chapter 1706. After Qin Wentian transmitted his voice, his silhouette vanished from the sky. The people of the Mo residence stared at Qin Wentian as the shock in their hearts grew even more intense. They didn't know how to express this. Their son-in-law, Qin Wentian, was actually a character like a heavenly deity. After that, Qin Wentian directly returned to the Qin residence and brought Qin Chuan and the others over to the Mo residence for a banquet. The two clans naturally had a joyous and harmonious atmosphere. After that, Qin Wentian went out and invited some of his old friends from his particle world over, inviting them to Azure Mystic to attend his wedding. He hoped that on the day of his wedding with Qin Er, his family and friends would all be present. In the particle world, a group of people headed towards the Azure Mystic Immortal realms. When they arrived at the Imperial Palace of the Heaven Empyrean City, the juniors were all stunned as looks of shock could be seen on their faces. Qin Wentian brought them directly to the Imperial Palace. Qin Chuan asked, "Wentian, where is this place?" "Evergreen Kingdom Palace, Qin Er's home." Qin Wentian smiled. "Sure." Qin Chuan inclined his head and stared at the majestic surroundings. "Wentian, father can't give you anything. You have to fight for everything yourself." "Father, what nonsense are you talking about?" Qin Wentian speechlessly laughed. He knew what Qin Chuan was thinking. Most probably, Qin Wentian thought that it would be awkward for him to be married in Qin Er's home. Qin Wentian was thinking too much. "Brother-in-law, Princess Qin Er is a princess of the Azure Mystic Immortal Empire. In that case, wouldn't this father-in-law of yours be the younger brother of the emperor? His cultivation base is extremely high, right?" Mo Feng asked shyly. Qin Wentian rolled his eyes, "Yes, yes." At this moment, a figure flashed over, bowing to Qin Wentian, "Palace Lord." "What's the matter?" Qin Wentian glanced at the other party. "Someone claims to be a friend of Palace Lord and is here to pay his respects." That person replied. "Okay, I'll go take a look." Qin Wentian nodded. "Father, I'll arrange for you to rest first." Go ahead." Qin Chuan and the others nodded their heads. Qin Wentian instructed the people from the Lifire Palace. After that, he left by himself. The experts from the Lifire Palace brought Qin Chuan and the others to a palace specially prepared for them. "Senior, can I ask you something?" Mo Feng walked to the side of that expert from the Lifire Palace and secretly asked. "Speak." The expert from the Lifire Palace smiled and nodded. "What is the palace master's level? How powerful is he?" Mo Feng curiously asked. The people in the surroundings rolled their eyes and his father directly berated, "Mo Feng, stop your nonsense." But although this was the case, many people pricked up their ears, wanting to hear what the other party had to say. They were also very curious. Qin Wentian was the #1 expert in this particle world, but they had no idea how he was doing in the immortal realms now. Qin Wentian said that he even killed the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. He should be extremely tyrannical, right? That expert from the Lifire Palace had a face filled with black lines. He speechlessly stared at Mo Feng. "The Palace Lord didn't tell you?" "No, I'm too embarrassed to ask brother-in-law." Mo Feng scratched his head. "I don't dare to speak nonsense behind the Palace Lord's back. The wedding will be held 3 days later. At that time, you will naturally know what level the Palace Lord is at." That expert from the Lifire Palace laughed. Mo Feng felt a little disappointed, but he still nodded his head. "All right then." The him right now was truly curious. "Sis, why don't you tell me?" Mo Feng glanced at Mo Qingqing, only to see Mo Qingqing glaring at him. Mo Feng could only smile helplessly. As for Qin Wentian, he came to the reception area of the royal palace. When he saw the two of them, a radiant smile appeared on his face. He walked up and gave that young man a big hug, patting him on the back as he smiled. "Ouyang, long time no see." "Long time no see." Ouyang Guangxing felt a little emotional when he saw Qin Wentian again. He stared at Qin Wentian's transcendent aura as he spoke. "Life is truly mysterious. I, Ouyang Guangxing, have always been conceited, but never in my wildest dreams did I expect that when I meet you again after a few hundred years, you have already become the overlord of the immortal realms. Do you know that on the way here, when I said that I'm the brother of the Heaven Empyrean, the gazes of others when they looked at me were like they were looking at an idiot. In that case, when they see you again on the day of my wedding, they will all become idiots. Qin Wentian laughed. Haha, that's right. I'm also filled with anticipation to see the expressions of those fellows. Ouyang Quansheng nodded. My brother has become the Heaven Empyrean, it's all thanks to you. What are you talking about? Qin Wentian glared at Ouyang Quansheng. He then turned to Jiang Ting. Ouyang, after Jiang Ting became an immortal, she grew more and more beautiful. Your luck with women isn't bad. You fellow, you dare to say that about me? Ouyang Quansheng pointed at Qin Wentian. Back then in our particle world, you married Mo Qingcheng. In the lower world, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that Mo Qingcheng is the #1 beauty. And now, you even recruited the palace mistress of the Evergreen Kingdom into your harem. How envious. In that case, are you very envious? Jiang Ting, who was at the side, giggled. No, how would I dare to? I'll only marry one. Ouyang Quansheng smiled when he saw the look in Jiang Ting's eyes. Seeing that the relationship between the two of them was still so good, Qin Wentian couldn't help but to smile happily. Let's go, let's chat in the palace. There are still 3 days left and the news of my wedding should be known by everyone in the world. I wonder if those fellows would rush over to attend. Qin Wentian spoke. If they can make it in time, they will definitely come. Ouyang Quansheng nodded. Let's hope so. Qin Wentian nodded. The Azure Mystic Immortal Realms couldn't be compared to particle worlds. In a particle world, he could sweep out with his immortal sense and swiftly find everyone. But in the Immortal Realms, it was impossible. They could only depend on themselves. Just like what Ouyang Quansheng said, at this moment, many of his friends were already on their way and some of them had already arrived in Heaven Empyrean City. Naturally, not only them, right now, people from the entire Immortal Realms were rushing over to Heaven Empyrean City. For a period of time, the city was filled to the brim with people. All the inns were filled to the brim and many people didn't even have a place to stay for the night. But now, Heaven Empyrean City had already become a city that never sleeps. Even at night, there would still be countless people discussing the wedding. The disciples of the various peak powers had long arrived. Even the second-tier powers also arrived. Immortal emperors and immortal kings could be seen everywhere, and immortal foundation experts were even more common. This was truly a scene that attracted the attention of the entire world. There had never been a wedding that could cause such a huge commotion. The Heaven Empyrean wanted to unify the world and marry the evergreen Qing heir. How could this not cause a commotion? The day of the wedding finally arrived. Today, the entire world was in the limelight. The surroundings of the royal capital of the Evergreen Kingdom were filled with resplendent lights and resplendent colors. A fiery red carpet was laid out from the Evergreen Kingdom's royal palace to a distance of 100 miles. Both sides of the carpet were guarded by experts from the various peak powers. Resplendent light permeated the air, many experts stood on both sides to maintain order, separating the wedding venue from the spectators. Only those from the peak powers and those close to Qin Wentian could enter. The experts in the air were like immortal soldiers and heavenly generals, incomparably imposing. In the outer perimeter, it was unknown how many people were there. It was simply impossible to see the end of the crowd. Many people had fanatical looks on their faces. Today was the grand wedding of the Heaven Empyrean. The Heaven Empyrean Qin Wentian, this legend of the Immortal Realms. Half of the peak powers in the Immortal Realms hated his talent and came to the Evergreen Kingdom to hunt him down. His soul was almost shattered, but he actually didn't die. After he returned, he reorganized the world in a short period of time, ruling over the myriad devil islands and becoming the myriad devil sovereign. In a single battle, he slew ancient emperors and took revenge on all the peak powers who participated in the siege, causing all of them to become part of the history of the Immortal Realms. After that, he joined forces with the reincarnation Immortal Emperor to kill the 4 Empyreans of the Immortal Qianbian Gate, as well as the 3 ancient emperors of the Jiang clan and the Empyreans of the Ying clan. This caused the immortal Qianbian Gate and the Jiang clan to disintegrate, and from then on, Azure Mystic was unified. The Heaven Empyrean was a true living legend. They were fortunate enough to live in this era and became the witnesses of this legend. In addition, the Heaven Empyrean used the momentum of unifying the immortal realms to marry the woman he loved. Countless years later, this piece of history would only become a glorious legend that was passed down by countless people. As the witnesses, they naturally felt honored. The gazes of the crowd turned towards the direction of the Evergreen Kingdom Palace. There was an incomparably majestic ceremonial platform there, and on the stairs, peak-stage immortal emperors could be seen standing there. Only characters like the Southern Phoenix Matriarch and the Dark North Immortal Emperor, as well as the relatives and friends of Qin Wentian and Qing'er, had the qualifications to ascend the stage. At this moment, in the seats beside the ceremonial platform, Chongqing the Great and the others all had smiles on their faces, appearing extremely happy. Qin Chuan, who was at the side, wasn't used to such a grand scene. Although he was the master of the Qin residence, he had never experienced such a grand scene before. Beside him, was none other than Qing'er's father, an immortal emperor of an immortal empire. He had once personally witnessed how awe-inspiring the Dongxing Heaven Emperor was. Old Qin. At this moment, a supreme beauty walked over. Qin Chuan inclined his head and stared at her. She had an exquisite and perfect countenance, as well as an incomparably noble aura. Clearly, her status was extraordinary. Old Qin and Chongqing the Great will be seated together later. After the newlyweds arrive, they have to pay their respects to their elders. The Southern Phoenix Matriarch smiled. Right. Qin Chuan nodded. Fairy, are you really someone from the mortal world? Mo Feng, who was at the side, stared dumbfoundedly at the Southern Phoenix Matriarch. Such a transcendent aura and beauty made him feel that this was a little surreal. However, he didn't have any intention to offend her, he was merely sighing in admiration. The Southern Phoenix Matriarch smiled at Mo Feng. What do you think? I feel like I'm dreaming. Mo Feng laughed. This dream has just begun. The Southern Phoenix Matriarch laughed. After that, she walked over. Mou giggled as she stared at Mo Feng. Are you not afraid that I will tell sister-in-law about this when we return? Humph. Mo Shiyao, who was at the side, snorted lightly, but she also felt that this was a dream. Mou, what sort of character is brother-in-law exactly? There are so many people who don't belong to the mortal world here to support him. Mo Feng glanced at the surroundings. There were simply too many beauties. The maidens of the Jadestage Immortal Palace were all extremely beautiful. The palace mistress of the Immortal Palace was even more otherworldly. There was also Namhuang Yunshi of the Namhuang clan and the other maidens. All of them were extremely beautiful. These were the maidens, and the auras they exuded were simply unimaginable. Many of them were like true emperors. How would I know? Mou mumbled, feeling curious in her heart. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.